skills. Apply by September 1st and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
I'm telling you right now, I'm buying stock in 96.
I might be buying a jersey.
This kid, Lombard, is not overhyped. This kid is exactly the goods. And it doesn't mean he's not going to have a bad game every now and then. There's a way people move and act and talk that tell you, oh, yeah, it's in him. Now it's a matter of sit back and let's watch it happen.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control, all on one platform. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move.
Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it to us and get a quote in minutes. And if you don't see what you need on the shelf, we'll help you get it. You can access thousands of products beyond what's available in-store or on Lowe's.com, right from the Lowe's Pro Desk. Build quotes faster and source the materials you need to keep your jobs moving. Just like that, at Lowe's.
This is the Michael Kay Show.
It's unfortunate that they are letting this string of amazing pitching performances be wasted. Because if you look at the way the Yankees are constructed, they've got a great top three in the starting rotation. Bottom line is, the Yankees, because of their lack of offense, have put themselves in an unenviable situation.
The Michael Kay Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm. ESPN New York is your home for the world champion New York Knicks. WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome.
You're damn right you are. Let's do it. Carlin, ESPN New York, ESPN New York YouTube channel, where you can be a part of the program in short order by contributing in what we call the chat. You can go there, leave your comments, and I will incorporate them into the show. But you can most especially be a part of the program at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. It is a pleasure and a joy to be with you guys again today. And there are a couple developments here later this morning that are pretty interesting that are raising some eyebrows this morning. And that's where we begin. Just to give you a quick layout, 11 o'clock, BT, Brandon Tierney, will be joining us for an hour. So I look forward to that today and Thursday. And you know that BT will be strong with his opinions. He will be bringing them on the show as well later on. So we look forward to that. Kevin Clark from This Is Football podcast and Omaha Productions and ESPN, you know him well. Dude just got off his training camp tour, and I'm looking forward to talking to him about the league and where all of this is headed this season and all the different storylines. To me, there are two big things that we can start with today. So let's roll. We begin with the Knicks and their first couple of games in the schedule getting leaked and released. And it's interesting. Number one, in case you have not heard, opening night, listed as a 7 p.m. game, Tuesday, October 20th, Sixers, Knicks, Madison Square Garden for the night to raise the banner. We were just debating this. There is no doubt in my mind that the price tag on that game is going to rival the Knicks for the NBA Finals. There is no doubt. And it's not just because it's LeBron and the Sixers. It's raising the banner to begin with. But this adds a little something to it. And when this got announced, I thought about the larger picture. And when you think about the last 25 years of suffering that led to the glory of what this year was and what could have been over the last 16 years if something had gone differently in 2010. If LeBron had made his decision to join the Knicks back then as opposed to joining the Miami Heat. And how all of the Knicks' hopes after that 8 to 9 year stretch of really struggling at that point really hinged on LeBron going to the Garden and all of the efforts that were made to try to get him to go there only to be turned aside. It's got to be, if you think big picture as a Knick fan, I think the sweetest possible scenario to make LeBron watch that banner go up. Is it not? Is it not? Like, are the Sixers the most ideal opponent for opening night? I think they are. And it's not just because they're the team that I think the Knicks have to be most concerned with in the Eastern Conference this year. No, I want to make that dude watch that. And I know that he went and won his championships elsewhere. I know that he put his stamp on Cleveland by winning a title finally his second time around for his home city. But you know deep down, and I know deep down, that if LeBron had been the guy to come here in 2010 and bring the Knicks a championship, it would have meant more than any other title he's won. And it's not even close. And I'm not talking about just the one title for him personally. I'm talking about in his legacy in the game. If LeBron had been the one to end that 40-year title drought with the Knicks at the time, it absolutely would have enhanced his overall resume when you were talking about him versus Jordan. Yeah, he did it for Cleveland. That's nice. That's great. You did it for your home city, and you won a championship there. That's great. You're an immortal. We all know that. You did it for the Lakers in the bubble. Who gives a damn? It was summer camp. That's what it was. And then you did it with the Miami Heat, where you went and you assembled your own super team together to do it. Okay, did that a couple of times. Good for you. You've heard Alan Hahn talk about this. The idea that if the Knicks had not won the championship this season, that LeBron's thought was he was going to be a Knick for next year. He was thinking that way because that would be the perfect way to try to end his career, to bring a title to New York and end what that drought would have been. End that drought what it was, I should say. But a little fly in the ointment named Jalen Brunson fixed that problem. The legacy of Jalen Brunson in the NBA is forever cemented on a higher level. Certainly not LeBron, don't get me wrong. But on a higher level than he would have been winning a title virtually anywhere else than by doing it here. And he knows that. Jalen Brunson is an all-time star in this league now because of what he did to bring a title to New York. And if you think LeBron doesn't recognize what that means now, even if he didn't recognize it back then, I am so glad that he's going to have to sit and watch that. That's kind of sweet, isn't it? Like, he hasn't been your number one enemy for 25 years. He truly hasn't been. It's always been something when he comes and plays in the Garden, but nobody is sitting there and every time he's touching the ball and booing him and all that. That's not what it is with him. There are plenty of LeBron fans that show up at Madison Square Garden. If LeBron had it to do over again, would he have even gone to Miami in the first place? Or now that the Knicks have won a title, would he have come here and try to be that guy? Think about that for a second. Again, hindsight's 20/20. It's cute that I can throw that out as a potential little thought, right? But knowing what he knows now, do you think LeBron is prouder of the 2 championships that he won in Miami? Or do you think that LeBron would be prouder of a championship that he won in New York, ending what that drought was? I mean, let's face it. He went to a bandwagon city that's all about glitz and glamour and the stars, and he did what had already been done by Dwayne Wade when he got there in winning a title. If he had come here and done it, it would have meant a lot more on the NBA landscape. So now, 15 years later, yeah, he's won his championships. Those are all fine. It's about legacy definition in his career. There's going to be a part of LeBron that at the end of his career, however he is viewed, like nothing in his, you think anything in LeBron's legacy really changes right now? If the Sixers win a title, does that change LeBron's legacy? Not really. He went and joined a couple of other really, really good players and did it there. But as a Knicks fan, it would have been one thing if he did come 15 years ago, 16 years ago. It would have been another thing, though, if you think about the title at this moment and how much sweeter it is now to have won a championship without him than if they had lost this year. He came in, and then you won a title with him. We would all still celebrate the Knicks winning a championship like anybody else, right? But you got to admit, like right now, you did it without him. Like that's even better. That's even better. And now, although it may not feel like it's like a little knife in the side and then you twist it with the knife in and then you twist it like that. No, it's not. It's not that. But there's a little poking and prodding there. And I'll just ask this to Tom Bauer, my resident Knick fan. Harvey, are you a Knick fan too or no?
No, you'll laugh at me. I used to be a Nets fan, but once they moved to Concord, Brooklyn, I left.
Okay, we're done. Can I talk to Tom Bauer, please? Can we block Harvey's mic for the rest of the day?
That's not nice, but I'm here.
Once they left New Jersey, listen, I'm from New Jersey.
So am I. You
Once
understand.
they left New Jersey and went to Brooklyn, you bailed.
I didn't bail. I left like they left.
Okay, you left them. All right. Well,
does it make you feel better? I've never claimed a team since.
Okay. Well, we'll have a discussion. That's a bigger discussion for another day. I do want to delve into your psyche with that decision on your part. Anyway, Tom Bauer, is there any team that you would rather have coming in this year on opening night than the Sixers and making LeBron watch that?
I think if you were raising the banner against the Spurs, the team that everybody outside New York kind of seen as the favorite in the NBA Finals, how a lot of people expected Wemby to win the title, maybe people even wanted Wemby to win the title, this and the other thing, that would have been satisfying to do it against him. But I think LeBron is another good option because also you get the Spurs on Christmas. So you at least get the marquee matchup there on a marquee day. So it's not the end of the world. I probably would have preferred Spurs, but I don't have a problem with the Sixers.
We'll get to that in a second. And the fact that it's on Christmas Day at noon. What I would say is, if you were looking for the villain, like Wemby's the Knick villain now, even though he's in the Western Conference. He's established himself as that in the dirty play in which he played. But can we all agree, if I gave you the choice of betting, will Wemby win a championship? I mean, that's got to be like minus 500, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
It'd be favorable.
You would not bet against Wemby winning a title, especially at this age. I now know, though, that guy who shunned me so long ago has to sit and watch that. And Tom, I think he'd only be human to not at least consider the idea. Or maybe I should have come here the first time around. Granted, the Knicks didn't do the greatest job in presenting to him either, but maybe I should have been here the first time around. Because as I'm watching that banner go up, and I'm watching what it means to these people, and I'm watching what it means to Jalen Brunson and his long-term legacy and what it's going to do for him, it's doing a lot more than any of LeBron's titles are doing.
Yeah, LeBron, when he chooses a team, is a chaser. He goes to a team that he knows he has.
The only time he didn't was Cleveland.
Yes.
When he went back to Cleveland.
Yes, and that was for sentimental purposes as well, and that's perfectly fine. Won the title in Cleveland.
Well
that was
done
nice.
by him. Mission accomplished.
Of course.
You did what many thought was the impossible.
But other than that, it was a chaser. If the Sixers didn't get Jaylen Brown, was he really going to end up in Philly and have to helicopter over to Philly every single time that they're going to play at home? No, that wouldn't have been possible.
Think about that. LeBron's pretty much going to be living here anyway. He doesn't even need to go to a hotel in the city. He's going to have wherever his apartment is in New York City, he can just hop on down to the Garden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
listen, I think it's pretty sweet that you get a chance, even though you may not necessarily feel like it or he may not feel like it, you're rubbing it in his nose a little bit. You hosted us 15 years ago. We don't forget. So screw you. Are you happy that LeBron is the opening night opponent for the Knicks? At 800-919-3776. We're going to get to that in very short order. Or is there somebody else that you would have rather seen? I think it couldn't be more perfect for the Knicks on opening night. As Tom mentioned, there is two other games, actually. He mentioned Christmas Day, noon, Spurs-Knicks finals rematch at Madison Square Garden. Also, second game of the year, it appears, Friday night, October 23rd, Knicks at Boston. I know some people are going to bring up Boston in this. Like, Jaylen Brown's gone, okay? Boston's not Boston anymore. But if you're at first, and I heard I heard Dan and Rick talking about this earlier. If you're thinking about the Knicks and you're disappointed that they are a noon game, which, frankly, I was for the noon game on Christmas, I was hoping the Knicks might be the 5:30 or the 8 o'clock game. What I would tell you is simply this. The NFL has now made sure they own Christmas Day. Okay? That's exactly what they have done. And how you know that the league is not screwing around at all is simply by looking at what the Christmas Day schedule is. And you can tell this was the league saying, oh, we're not going to screw around with these games. Okay? They gave you Houston, Philadelphia on Christmas Eve on Prime, which is a Thursday, which is why they're playing on Christmas Eve. Now, that game might get lost a little bit even by Christmas Eve, but that's still a really good game. Followed by Green Bay, Chicago at 1 o'clock. Followed by Buffalo, Denver at 4:30. Followed by the Rams, Seattle at 8:15. What does it matter to you? Honestly, can you miss the first half of Green Bay, Denver? You can. You absolutely can. That's pretty much what you're going to... Green Bay, Chicago, I should say. Can you miss the first half of that for the Knicks at noon? You can. Would you... listen, I know we're all Knicks fans here. You would probably watch here no matter what. But I would argue that actually playing that game at noon for you as a sports fan is probably the best case scenario. Like Rams-Seattle is going to be a really good game on that night. And you can do the 2-box thing and all that right now. I understand that. But I would rather have this be the case. I'm good with this completely. And so with the Knicks at noon against the Spurs on Christmas Day, I did not even really realize. It didn't feel to me like it was an every year thing at noon And then, of course, Ray was talking about it earlier, and you go back and look, 19 and 20 were the only 2 years that they hadn't played recently on Christmas Day. They're always going to want the Knicks on Christmas Day, but if you feel like they're getting disrespected at noon, I would argue, no, you're not. Because if you're missing the first half of the Packers and the Bears for the Knicks and the Spurs, you'll be more than good in living with that. The NFL is taking over Christmas Day. They did it last year, but they have especially done it this year by loading up these games and making sure they're really good games and they're not messing around. Speaking of the NFL, the Jets and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today get together for joint practices for the next 2 days. What I would say about this is joint practices are always very helpful, but if you're a Jet fan, there's one thing that you're paying attention to. You're paying attention to Baker Mayfield, okay? Everything else, Geno Smith, how the team looks, all those kinds of things, that's all great. Baker Mayfield, if he speaks to the media one of the next 2 days, which I am assuming that he will, he is going to get asked about playing for the Jets in the future. And if you're in the media and you're not doing your job. Now, that doesn't mean that he's even going to answer it. But the Jets are perfectly positioned on Mayfield, who has now ended talks from last check with the Buccaneers on a new contract extension. So if that's the case, and Mayfield at the end of the year is a free agent, well, the Bucs are obviously going to franchise him no matter what. But if the Jets are in a position to trade for Baker Mayfield as opposed to going and if they're not going to have the first pick in the draft or the guy they really love, I would absolutely make the case that Baker Mayfield then makes the Jets an immediate competitor next season. And it would be silly to not pursue that in the offseason. And it would be silly to not pursue that with at least one of your first-round picks. Now, where you look at where Mayfield has come in his career over the last few years, it's really a terrific story that he was able to reclaim it and find a home in Tampa Bay, which it is a little befuddling to me that Tampa Bay is only willing to go such a short-term contract with Mayfield. I don't blame Baker for trying to get the most that he can. This is more about years than it is about anything else, apparently. If I'm the Jets, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. Because Mayfield immediately makes the Jets a potential playoff team. And not even that. Mayfield next year, if this team develops the way that we believe it should, immediately makes the Jets a legitimate contender. And you might think that's a little bit hyperbole, right? Well, I would just point you to the numbers the last few years. Mayfield in Tampa has thrown 28 touchdowns, 41 touchdowns, and 26 touchdowns the last 3 seasons. Let me do some math there. 69 and 26, 95 touchdowns and 37 interceptions. This past year, 26 and 11. You want that? I think you do. And I don't think you're blinking twice. You can live with 11 interceptions if you're going to get close to 30 touchdowns, which you will with Mayfield. You can certainly virtually bank on at least 3,800 yards to 4,200 yards. And the most important thing that you can bank on is Baker Mayfield playing. Baker Mayfield playing. Last 3 years, started every single game for the Tampa Bay Bucs. I think it's really interesting to watch the next couple of days. And I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not going to be shocked if Mayfield just dangles a little carrot out there about it. Today, let me take you a little bit behind the scenes with how things like this go. And It's possible that Mayfield may not even be talking to the media these two games, and maybe he just will after the game this week. But I'm assuming that Mayfield in one of the next 2 days is going to talk to the media. Baker and his agents, now that the talks have broken off, have had the discussion in the next couple of days, or in the last couple of days. Hey, when you're talking to the media, somebody's probably going to ask you about this. And if they do, what does it hurt us to you even just say, you never know what can happen? The Jets have obviously put together a pretty good team from what I saw out there in practice. They're impressive, but I'm focused on Tampa Bay. In other words, not even saying, yeah, I'd absolutely consider playing for the Jets, but even just dangling a little carrot out there. Do not be shocked. Do not be shocked. I think that question is going to get asked if Mayfield speaks in the next 2 days or after the game. And if it does, look out, Jack. Look out. It's interesting. He won't do anything that will sabotage or really draw attention away from the Bucs season. He will have plausible deniability in what he says when he's being complimentary of another team, which is what he will do. But then he will throw in, but I'm focused on this season and playing with the Bucs and all that. And if there's a follow-up or two, which there will be, he'll probably not do very much to fuel the fire because Baker's kind of learned his lessons, but he will not leave it alone entirely, which will have us talking about it for sure, and it should have you considering it. Because I leave you on this topic with this idea. Haven't you drafted enough guys? Like, I know you tried to do the Aaron Rodgers thing. It doesn't mean that you stop firing darts. Same thing, if you draft another guy, okay. And that, to me, it's okay if, you end up with the number 1, 2, or 3 pick, not because you had a terrible season, maybe because the Colts had a terrible season. If you end up with that, then there's not a discussion to be had. If the Jets end up with, their highest pick being number 8, then let's start talking about what trading away one of those first-round picks looks like for Mayfield. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. Do you believe Mayfield could be a long-term solution for the Jets at the position next year? And is there anybody else you'd rather see on opening night for the Knicks than LeBron and the Sixers? 800-919-3776. The lines are open right now. So is the chat on YouTube. Go in there, leave your comments, and we will get to them. Brandon Tierney will join us for an hour today. We will have Kevin Clark from the This Is Football podcast, one of the smartest football minds out there, joining us as well. Holy crap, what a show. Carlin, ESPN New York.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Nassau County delays now on the eastbound Southern State Parkway crash, Center Lane, Eagle Avenue at West Hempstead, eastbound on the Southern State. On the BQE, just getting word of an accident, westbound 278 BQE south by McGinnis Humboldt Street. Crash there, and the Bell Parkway super slow westbound past Pennsylvania Avenue with repairs at least one lane down. In New Jersey, a couple of things, 287 northbound by Edison, it's one lane of construction, and Route 4 east and westbound side by Broadway, the Broadway section of Fairlawn with the crash being cleared investigation at Fairlawn Parkway. I'm Bob Williams on 880 ESPN New York.
Hey Yankees fans, gather a group of 10 or more and take advantage of our 2026 Yankees group ticket specials. Whether you're getting together with family and friends, organizing a fundraiser, or entertaining clients, your group will love bonding over the Bronx Bombers. Start planning your 2026 group outings today. Log on to Yankees.com/groups. Call 212-YANKEES or email us at groups@Yankees.com. That's 2026 group tickets. Call 212-YANKEES or visit Yankees.com/groups today.
Right now, police are stepping up patrols to make sure drivers and pedestrians obey our crosswalk laws. Why? Because every year in New York, people are injured or killed just crossing the street. So remember, pedestrians, obey traffic signals and use crosswalks. And drivers, yield to pedestrians in crosswalks. If you don't, we will educate you on the law, and you may get a ticket, because tickets get attention, and that saves lives. A message from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Miller time. People think it just happens, but that's not true. You know what you gotta do? You gotta go say hello with some beers. Make the plans. Forget the couch. Go to that thing. Play the game. See them in person. Talk to that stranger. Live a little. Small acts of rebellion that bring us together. Because legendary moments start with a light. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2026 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. Episodes 1 and 2 available now. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
Carlin, 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN, also on the ESPN New York YouTube channel, where we now go and get some of the comments. Black Metrodome LeBron doesn't even want to live in Philly. He's living down here, for Pete's sake. Dylan Cody, I'll skip any NFL game for a Knicks game. Okay, I understand that. I think you are in the minority, but you're a huge Knicks fan, and I think Knicks Christmas Day against the Spurs, people are going to skip, the Knicks fans are going to skip that game, that the Bears and the Packers, to watch the Knicks, of course. Is the average fan of sports in New York going to watch Knicks Spurs, or are they going to watch the NFL? Probably Knicks Spurs. So maybe that is the NBA's best chance to kind of beat out, at least in a city, where the overall ratings could be. But again, it's a Netflix game, so how they measure the ratings is completely different. What the NBA is doing is they are rolling out their best matchup that they could potentially offer you outside of having LeBron play in that slot for the first game to just say, all right, we're going to try to at least control it early because we know late a lot of people are going to turn over to the NBA. A couple of the others that I want to chime in. Tsunami. I honestly hate Adam Silver for not punishing the Spurs by making them face the Knicks on banner night. See, this is what's interesting to me. Would you rather face the Spurs on banner night, or would you rather face LeBron on banner night? If it were me, I know Wembanyama became the villain, but you beat him in 5, and you ended up taking him out. I would rather see LeBron here. Ray Santiago just walked in. I'm going to ask you a quick question, Ray, because you obviously are a huge Knicks fan. I heard you this morning. No big deal about playing at noon. That's all good for you. As a fan, would you rather that Wembanyama had to sit there and watch the banner be raised, or 16 years later, as much more pain as that night caused you when he didn't come here, and knowing that his whole plan, if they didn't win, was to try to come here and then do it, and frankly, it wouldn't, even though you'd still enjoy it, it wouldn't feel as good as this does. It would not.
So to be clear, you're right. I don't really care, but
you don't
the
care
fact
who's
that you bring all that up, and LeBron spited us 16 years ago, and Rich Paul made it clear that was the plan. You're damn right. I'm going to enjoy like LeBron having to watch.
Would you rather it have been Wemby or LeBron with all that context?
No, because Wemby had to be there and watch it all transpire.
Yes.
He already suffered. This isn't going to make Wemby suffer anymore.
No, it's not. That's a great point. And to me, the other thing about Wemby, too, is that Wembanyama is, 23 years old or whatever he is. He's going to win championships. In the grand scheme, that's not going to be a night that's going to sit with him for the rest of his life like he's already had when they lost the championship, then having to watch that because he's going to win title.
He's going to win, but I'm not sure that night will not stick with him for a long time, even when he eventually wins.
No, right now, the first loss is going to stick with him for a long time, but I'm saying if he had to watch the banner too, I don't know that would be as bad.
Well, he's not a good loser because you've seen like the ones he's lost in the past, like losing the gold medal game to USA. He took that very personally. So especially the way that the Spurs as an organization were talking throughout and after that entire series as though they were the better team, they feel a way about not the fact that they lost. Oh, we were winning for 71% or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that the Knicks won every quarter that wasn't the first quarter.
Yes.
But,
I personally would take a lot more joy out of what's happening. Make him sit and watch. And if your plan was to come here, sorry, we threw a little fly in your ointment by winning a title already. Oh, you screwed us the first time around. Now we screw you. Adios. A couple of the other comments coming in. I get that from Tsunami. I understand that. But I would rather see LeBron have to sit and watch that. And then, 2 nights later, have to take a chopper down to Philly for a game. Dylan Cody, Spurs don't want the smoke anyway. Let them wait. Spurs will want the smoke. Spurs will come in Christmas Day wanting that game. We got a good NBA season coming up. Knicks won't let us down. They know what's up. Title number 4 inbound. I think that's also jumping the gun quite a bit just because it is a shorter offseason, and the Knicks are not an old team, but not a young team. So I do think that some of it really happened in Black Metronome. Sue wants to make the boy watch. It's the only way he'll learn. Let the boy watch. Good call. 800-919-3776. And then Euro Mod, Christmas belongs to the NBA. Thanksgiving belongs to the NFL. Dude, pay attention.
Let the boy watch.
I still feel like not enough people saw Eastbound and Down. I still feel like that was the case.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Like if you're on my algorithm, that will pop up, and just the faces of Craig Robinson in that scenario and Danny McBride, like they cannot keep a straight face, and neither can Will Ferrell for that matter. I can't even imagine trying to be there on set and trying to do your job with Will Ferrell being that guy. I mean, even some of the outtakes from
When I hear a sound, a rap at the door, my young son Gabriel walks in. My wife says, "No, Gabriel, leave." I say, "No, let the boy watch."
I'm 2 years old. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN lines are open to hit that right now regarding the Knicks and playing on opening night and the fact that LeBron's going to have to be the one to sit there and see that. Also, the Jets and Mayfield and what the future could hold with that particular situation. There was a transaction this morning that was announced by the Yankees, but it was not a player transaction. The Yankees and Apollo Capital, I believe they're called. Apollo Global Management announced a deal in which Apollo Sports Capital, a permanent platform of Apollo, and the Yankees agreed a deal to infuse $2.6 billion in a financing agreement with the Yankees. Now, here is part of the release. The financing agreement is a mix of credit and equity. In other words, there is some equity that the Yankees are giving up with proceeds supporting the continued growth of the Yankees franchise, as well as refinancing of existing debt. The transaction is expected to close imminently. There are two things at work here. I reached out to Jeff Passan this morning, and they haven't said exactly how much of a percentage Apollo Sports Capital is acquiring of the Yankees. They can't get more than 15%. So at a $2.6 billion financing agreement, somebody's going to have some say in something, right? The Yankees maintain, well, the Steinbrenners will maintain full control of the organization. But anytime you bring in private equity, all that means is private equity is looking for businesses where costs are going to be cut and profits are going to raise. And as Jeff Passan said to me this morning, if private equity is getting involved with the Yankees right now, they believe there's going to be a salary cap. So it doesn't mean that all of a sudden the Yankees are going to be absorbed by a private equity firm and then they're going to be cutting costs across the board and getting rid of salaries and not spending that much money. What they do believe is there's going to be a fixed cost to what they're paying out. And that's interesting. Like, that's how confident they are that they're making that kind of a bet. And for the Yankees, when you see refinancing of existing debt, the primary debt that the Yankees would have, at least it strikes me, would be the stadium. The Mets have used SNY in so many different ways to refinance the money that was coming in for years and years and years and restructure their debt all over the place. On Citi Field, on all of where they were losing money. And the Mets have been losing money. The Wilpons, obviously, that we know where that all started. But as much as we talk about the the whole situation with Madoff, we should also recognize that it would strike me that both the Yankees and Mets made pretty crummy deals with the city when it came to their stadiums if they're consistently having to refinance all this debt on these stadiums. And I know you do it to make the books look better and all that, but remember Hal made the comment last year about shelling out $100 million a year for the stadium? Broski, nobody told you had to build that place. Nobody told you that. And I know why you did it, because of all the luxury amenities and all of that. But obviously, there's still not as much revenue coming from it as you would hope there to be. The Yankees are making plenty of money. They're not making Dodger money. So why is private equity coming in? Because they think that the Yankees' costs are about to be fixed. In other words, there's a salary cap. 800-919-3776. I can't get that much further into salary cap talk. I really can't. But it is just funny that the Yankees are giving up a piece of equity, which they admit in there, in taking in $2.6 billion in a mix of credit and equity. All that means is equity is basically they're getting a piece of the franchise. But it sounds like the Yankees are getting some credit out of it, too, to restructure that debt. All it means to me is Yankees may not be in as great of a financial position as we thought they were, but I don't think it's desperate either. I think this is taking an infusion of cash from a place that's anxious to get involved, because private equity is trying to get involved in franchises all over the place. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. At 11 a.m., Brandon Tierney is going to join us for an hour. We will have plenty to discuss around the Jets and around the Knicks. And, of course, BT, huge Jet and Knick fan. He's got BT Unleashed, his YouTube show, and the podcast that he does with Rich Cimini and Jake Asman on the Jets as well. So we're looking forward to talking to Brandon at 11. He will join us today and on Thursday for an hour. And then Kevin Clark of ESPN joins us later as well on ESPN New York.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
If you're living with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, migraines, nerve pain, or chronic joint pain, you don't have to just live with it. I'm Michael Kay, and I want to introduce you to Dr. Jay Shah at Sandwell Pain. Dr. Shah is Ivy League trained, double board certified, and specializes in non-surgical, image-guided treatments that help get to the source of your pain. With convenient offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Englewood, expert care is never far away. So if pain is keeping you from doing the things that you love this summer, take the first step toward relief. Visit SandwellPain.com to book your appointment online.
Whoever said fork in the road must have been hungry for the Sorrento and Sorrento Turbo Hybrid. Their 3-row seating and 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. With a capable Sorrento and Sorrento Turbo Hybrid, every way forward is the right way. Visit your local Kia dealer today. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Drive safely. See retailer for warranty details.
Hot damn! Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea just got harder with Twisted Tea Extreme. The hard iced tea taste you know and love, but with an 8% kick of alcohol. Twisted Tea Extreme is made with real brewed tea, goes down smooth, and brings your daytime drinking to the next level. Just look for the bright yellow cans in the cooler and get ready to dial up the fun. Big flavor, extreme kick. Twisted Tea Extreme. Keep it twisted!
Visit Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off, and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
If you're looking to get your Knicks-Sixers tickets for opening night, you better get in early. Harvey Cruz just hit me with this. Already on StubHub, and granted, tickets and schedules aren't even out yet, but StubHub already knows that's opening night with Knicks and Sixers. Harvey, what is the number that we are starting at to get in the building?
We are starting out at $25.05.
That number feels light, does it not?
It gets much bigger when the closer you get, of course.
Well, of course, but I'm saying, like, by the time we roll around to opening night, the get-in number, which is, whatever the standing thing is on that bridge or whatever, has to be at least $5,000, right? Has to be. I can't imagine it would be any less than that. I feel like if you're trying to get opening night Knicks tickets, like, now might be your time to do it. They haven't even announced the entire schedule yet, but you might want to get in now. Or if you're, maybe you're looking to make a little investment and make a little ROI, a little return on that investment, So maybe not the worst time to do that. I'm not in any kind of way, any sort of investment. I wouldn't even use the word genius. I'm not even a novice on investments. I would say that with that in mind, I would take all your money and buy all the Knicks tickets you can right now and look to dump them.
$1,200 is the starting point for Christmas Day.
$1,200 is the starting point for Christmas Day. See, I don't think the Christmas Day Spurs game will get anywhere near what the finals did because it's Christmas Day. Because people are not going to necessarily want to leave and go to the game on Christmas Day. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to be expensive. It will be. But it'll be nowhere close to what the finals were. Opening night, that banner going up, that's got to be $5,000. That's got to be to get in the building. So if I'm you, I'm taking every dollar I have and I'm sinking it into Knicks tickets on opening night right now. That's just me. I'm no Jim Cramer, but it feels like a foolproof plan. I know so many people who have invested in tickets. Well, that's probably not the best way to say that now. People who have invested in tickets before looking to make it into a whole big investment opportunity. Maybe it doesn't necessarily work out for some, but you get the point. If I were you, it's subtle, but I'm sure you got it. Anyway, if I were you, that's what I would do. And I'm going to go home today and take all the money I have, which is very little, and dump it into that. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. Who did the Knicks want to beat the most this year? Who do you as Knicks fans want to take out more than anybody else? Do you really, it's funny. The Knicks in so many places are going to turn into the villain for teams. They're going to be the one place where teams want to go and they want to improve a point. The Knicks, like they would say, have a target on their back. But they'll also be villains for fans, too, because fans in other cities certainly got a bit oversaturated by it. Like, there will be plenty of Knicks fans in Philly for when they play the Sixers. I guarantee you that will be a week, whenever that is down there. That will be a 2-week process of that town trying to rally and saying, what the hell are we doing here? We cannot let these people take over again like they did last year. Because that was a flat-out embarrassment for Philadelphia. But my point is, who are is there really a villain for the Knicks anywhere? Is it just that LeBron is the villain because he's gone to Philadelphia and the Sixers look like the biggest contender in the East to knock them off? Probably so. Probably so. Like, the Knicks don't have a true villain. The Miami Heat were villains back in the day. The Bulls were villains back in the day. The Knicks don't really truly have that right now. Is there a team in particular that you want more than any other to beat this season if you're chasing a championship? Because I do worry about the hangover factor from winning a title with the Knicks. I'll be completely frank about that. And now, winning it by only losing 3 games certainly helps in playing less games going into and stretching out the postseason further. So that helped the Knicks as far as being ready for this coming season. But at the same time, if you are the Knicks and you're trying to win a championship this coming year, all of the offseason opportunities that have popped up for guys, like Jalen Brunson didn't actually get on vacation until about, 2 weeks ago maybe? All of that kind of stuff, all the money that's out there to be made this offseason, that's going to carry the day for a lot of people. So, on that roster. So will they be able to bounce back, or is it going to be slow out of the gate? Like, the regular season, we know, doesn't mean all that much, but it's going to mean enough at some point where it's going to start to raise a red flag if they're not having a good go at it. 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN, all of that, plenty of Jets talk. We got Brandon Tierney joining us next. BT Unleashed on the way. Carlin on ESPN New York.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes, and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
I take the car service home heavily medicated on Ativan, right? And my wife had told me prior to that she didn't like the way I was on Ativan, that I became hostile and agitated. So the Giants lose that game 24-21. And I said, I can't take it anymore. The season is over. And I took the vinegar and I dumped the vinegar out on her computer. And she said, what is the matter with you?
You dumped the vinegar onto the computer.
Yeah, but don't stop there.
Oh, my God.
She goes, what's the matter with you? I said, nothing. You want to see the matter? At this point, the kids.
The poor kids. Are the kids okay?
This is DiPietro and Rothenberg.
And I don't remember what happened from that moment on, but I'm not allowed to take Ativan anymore.
Morning Start with DiPietro and Rothenberg. Weekdays from 6 to 10 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com. Protecting your home inside and out.
Kenny here to help you ignite your taste buds with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Juicy cherry, citrus lime, and blue raspberry. It's that iconic freezer pop flavor, but with none of the guilty sugar aftermath. The perfect summer kick. It's a delicious, portable, zero-sugar energy shot bursting with flavor. Bring on summer with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon.
When you tell someone what team you cheer for, do they apologize? Does your first childhood memory involve crying on a Jumbotron? Then you may be a fan of a BST or bad sports team. Luckily, when you bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive, you're protected from things like fire damage caused by violently unplugging the TV. Or an accidental overhand left to the drywall. Visit Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Covered subject to policy terms. Not available in all states or situations.
This is Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg.
I'm telling you right now, I'm buying stock in 96.
I might be buying a jersey.
This kid, Lombard, is not overhyped. This kid is exactly the goods. And it doesn't mean he's not going to have a bad game every now and then. There's a way people move and act and talk that tell you, oh yeah, it's in him. Now it's a matter of sit back and let's watch it happen.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Weekdays at 3 on ESPN New York. And streaming live on YouTube. ESPN New York. Now streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe today and watch the show. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2 New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome. Yes, that's right. It is Carlin, ESPN New York, and this is interesting in that we've never done this before, but I am thrilled that BT is with us. Brandon Tierney, you know him. BT Unleashed, the YouTube channel. He's doing a tremendous job with his show each and every day, the Daily Show covering all sports and all New York sports. And, of course, the Jets Collective podcast with him, Rich Cimini, Jake Asman. BT, what's up, dude?
Yo, what's going on, Chris? How you feeling today, buddy?
I'm great. How are you? Let's just start here, man. We haven't talked since we haven't talked very much at all. We check in every once in a while. But you as a Knicks fan, as a diehard New York City guy, just give me the highlight for you when we were going through that entire run.
Oh,
what that
man,
was like.
It's really hard to verbalize, dude. It really is. I mean, the Knicks were one of those teams, and I know I'm not alone when I say this, where it just felt like it was just never going to happen. I mean, you think about all the different starts and the stops and the Carmelo stuff, the way the Donnie Walsh era ended, and the Hornacek, and the Phil Jackson, and the Fisher. I mean, it was just a circus, dude. So, as it's actually transpiring, now the Knicks were obviously good for a couple of years, couldn't quite crack through. I was dead wrong. I mean, I had to take a massive L, and I willingly did it. Like, at one point, and you remember this, Chris,
we all did, really, yeah. I mean, nobody was out calling this as a championship year.
That's true.
You know?
That's true, but the expectations were when you get to the second round and you're competitive and like eventually you got to take the next step. It's not like they came out of nowhere. But no, you're right. Like none of us were really, unless you're just, a 40-year-old fanboy who's got a Patrick Ewing poster over your bedroom wall that your wife allows you to keep up there. I mean, nobody really thought they were the top team, that they were the team to beat. Really, the thing was, all right, I think the Knicks could get out of the East, and then obviously the West is going to be hard, thinking it would be OKC. I just remember when they won, like I love watching the games in my backyard with a fire pit, right?
Yeah.
Have a couple of pops, flip the TV around, and just enjoy the backyard. And it went from like being so, and you know how I'm wired. I'm energetic, I'm loud, I'm passionate, I'm nuts, I'm all those crazy things, I guess. And it's real, like it's not contrived. And when they actually won, I really did not know how to react, Chris. I sat there, I didn't just stand up and yell. Like I yelled during all the comebacks down by 29 points and all that stuff. But when you chase something your entire life, I mean, talk about posters. I had a poster of, it was from The Wiz. You'll remember this, actually, from The Wiz. And it was the Bomb Squad. It was Patino in 87, 88. And it was like Mark Jackson, Trent Tucker, Rod Strickland, Johnny Newman, all the guys hoisting up threes. And that literally was in my bedroom. So all the stops and starts and all the tumultuous moments, I just sat there and I smiled. And I was like, wow. And it really opened up. And I remember saying this on my show, on the YouTube show the next day. I'm like, man, it's going to probably be similar for maybe some Met fans who have never won if they didn't see 86. When you actually win and you really never thought that you would, you just hit a space that is completely foreign. And it's equal parts being exalted, but it's also equal parts being stunned. Yeah. So I just sat there and did a bunch of texts and called some buddies and just said, yo, let's crack open another one and celebrate. I'm getting banged up tonight. Knicks won.
There was parts of me, not even necessarily in the Knicks, but when I've seen teams in that scenario before, and I've seen friends, they sit there at the end of a game, and they almost feel like, oh, we can't blow it. You know what I mean? Like at the end of a championship game, it almost struck you like, oh, no, this is like, that's why I thought Tyler Murray's call was so spot on and underrated on the radio. It's happening. It's really happening. Like that's what it is. That's what I think it felt like. And I think I think you're not alone in saying you almost didn't know what to do.
This is going to sound weird, but as things are going, once it ended, there was a part of me like, man, I would have liked another game or two. Not that I wanted to roll the dice and say, let's keep it going, because the more it went, the more problems it could actually occur. But like I felt like because of the script of all the games being down and not really enjoying the first three quarters, pretty much every game. And then so like it's that emotion, almost like, all right, tonight's not our night. You start processing in the back of your mind, what do we have to do to come back and win the next game? Like it's obviously off the rails. So it's not like you're sitting there fervently, like for four quarters, like, boom, 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 because you're almost stunned because you're one more jab or one more chin shot from being on the mat and going down. And they just hung on to the corner. And it was just amazing. I would imagine, like, if and when, and I'm sure we'll talk some football, but like if and when the Jets crack through, it's probably going to be the same thing for me, Chris. Yeah. It's going to be disbelief.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Now, I do want to get to this because of the news of the day. We find out three of the games. We find out opening night when they're raising the banner. LeBron and the Sixers are in. Noon on Christmas Day against the Spurs, and second game of the year, they're in Boston. But let's focus on opening night for a second. I'm thrilled because you mentioned all of those years and where things had gone horribly wrong. I know that he went elsewhere and he won his titles. Mm-hmm. But when you know that the plan for LeBron was if the Knicks didn't win one this year, that he was coming here. Rich Paul made sure we all knew that.
Yep.
I'm glad he's going to have to sit there and watch.
There's not a better, even Wemby, who's taken on this villainous characteristic very fast, right?
But he's still a kid. Like he's gonna win his, and that's why I don't take any joy out of that. I already sucked the life out of him.
I hear you, dude. Like to me, it's the best script in the world because, and I was saying this during the year when, like many as we just discussed, like there was some tumultuous points, like Cat not on the same page as the head coach, and at one point, Brunson was a little ball dominant. Like there were some things I just didn't like about the way they operated as a team. So the conversation was like, okay, if they don't win, which I don't expect them to, I want LeBron James? And because I knew he was going to lead the Lakers like we all did. And I got to tell you, Chris, I even said, now maybe I was a prisoner of the moment, but I really don't think that I was. I would rather, based on what he put us through back in the day, I would rather lose and maintain my dignity without LeBron than the Knicks lose, say, in round 2 or the Eastern Conference Finals last year. LeBron swoop in, LeBron, and forever be beholden to LeBron James. Like, that is something I wanted no part of. And I really think that I mean it when I say that would have usurped in terms of what I wanted or what I would have processed better. I'll go down with dignity rather than, all right, this guy played us for basically two different times over the course of a 12-year period when we really needed him and when we were really down. But he didn't have the broad enough shoulders. He thinks he did, but he didn't, to come and try to save the Knicks. Now you want to come in and be the hero? I don't want that. Like, I don't want that for the Knicks. I don't want that for the Knicks fans. So I love it. He's going to, now we know, especially if Embiid's healthy, this Sixers team, dude, if they won 70 games, I mean, Jaylen Brown, Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey was not healthy last year with the finger, LeBron and Embiid, they might win 70 games, and that they're going to be a problem for the Knicks. That's a discussion down the road. But for him to be in the arena, which is the best venue in my opinion, even better than Lambeau. Some could push back. I get it. It's subjective. I think the Garden is the best venue in all the sports. I've always thought that, right? So for him to be there, looking up at that banner being unfurled, knowing not only do we not want you at this point, but we didn't need you to get it. Oh, Chris, it makes me happy, buddy.
Well,
I
listen,
love it.
There's no doubt that it feels infinitely better to have won it without him than with him. There's no question. We can say that now that it's happened. But I do disagree. Dignity be damned, dude. It's 50 years. Like, honestly, like at that point, if he wants to come in and cement his legacy and do all that, fine. Leave the trophy at the door. Like, that's all I care about if I got the trophy. But
yeah,
I really think about that whole thing. And if you remember that night as well as anybody, there was genuine pain in that fan base that was to be turned aside by him. It wasn't an expectation. It was just a genuine hope, but it was a kick in the groin. It was absolutely a kick in the groin. And for you to wait 15 more years and watch him do it in Miami with his super team and then watch him do it in L.A. Or listen, to me, there's only one championship that separates LeBron's titles from other ones, and that's the Cleveland one. But if he had, you can't tell me that there's not part of LeBron that at the end of this career, especially sitting there on that night, that would not regret having gone to New York the first time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I know that he won the championships, but like to me, he clearly understood what winning a title in New York would mean if he was ready to come here if they hadn't won one.
Correct. I'm going to take you behind the curtain. So you're at the other station. I'm at ESPN Radio the night that he signed, the night that he announced he's going to Miami. And I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the K show because I was doing a night show at this point when it was on 1050. And I think I could be off on this because a long time ago, I'm pretty sure John Winthrop, obviously the PD of the station, as you know, was in the control room because he was producing either my show coming up or one of the show, whatever it was. And we get a call. Michael's on the air. Don's on the air. I'm coming up at, I think, 7 o'clock, whatever it was, Chris. And somebody, and I'm just kind of sitting around just, getting ready to do my show. Somebody says, hey, B, somebody wants to talk to you. And so I come into the control room, and it's somebody tipping me off that they're going to make the announcement at the Boys and Girls Club in Connecticut. I'm sitting there saying, it's not the Boys and Girls Club in Ohio. It's not in Miami. It's not out west. It's not in San Antonio or Dallas. It's in Connecticut, and I don't think it's for the Connecticut Sun at this point, right? So I'm saying, dude, he's coming. He's coming to the Knicks. Yeah. And I was such a massive LeBron James fan, and I respect him. He's never going to be Jordan. That's subjective. I get not even to get into that argument, but to me, Jordan's always number one, and no matter what LeBron does moving forward, he's never going to be number one. Some people disagree. I get that. But the way he played us, even if it wasn't intentional, just playing with the emotion. Now, listen, part of that's on me, Chris. Just because I get that, I didn't mean that I had to deduce to the degree that I did that LeBron James, all right, he's an hour away in Greenwich. He's going to be a Knick. I mean, my bad. I'll take the L.
If he had led you down the path of believing it all along, that would have been more painful.
More believable. Okay, yes, true. But now think about that, Kurt. Think about all the years that you're in the control room with Mike Francis. Something big's going down, and Francesa's getting the tip before anybody in the business, right? Him and Dog. And you get a call, hey, I got to talk to Mike. Mike comes in or Chris comes in, and they get told that. Now, I wasn't fed erroneous information. I was it went down.
No, it was accurate. Yeah.
You don't think that Mike is, now he might not come on the air like a lunatic. LeBron's going to be a Knick. I'm not saying that he would, but you don't think that he's starting to extrapolate and, okay, I mean, it's Connecticut. The Knicks aren't far away. It was just common sense for me. I'm not even saying LeBron did anything wrong, but it was just a little curveball. And in my opinion, a little bit of an unnecessary one. And then you tack on all the stuff where the Knicks were down. He didn't want us. Then when we're good, he does. You know what? Go where you went, and we will see you opening night, and we will see you probably in round 2 or round 3. And, we'll beat you on the court. At least that's my hope. I would love to see him slink off that court, whether it's in Philly with, 9 or 10 or 12,000 Knicks fans who always take over the joint down there, or at the Garden in front of basically 20 large, and LeBron slinking off the court. Because everything, Chris, you know this, everything he does at this point is, and he's an amazing player, I get that, and he's a good guy. Like, he's never in trouble. No. But the way he's tried to, contrive and structure his career, it's all built on trying to leap past Jordan.
That's it. And that's why that regret is going to live there for me. For him.
Yes. And does that bother you as someone, you know sports, you love sports? Like, how do you not hold that against somebody who doesn't do it organically ever?
I totally get that. I think it's a different, I hate this phrase. I think it's a different time. Things kind of changed when we always talk about Jordan and how he did it, and it was somewhat organically. He always obviously had Pippen, and he always found that in the two different machinations of the Bulls, found the right other pieces like the Rodmans. This is, now you go and you go do it somewhere else. Like, the Kevin Durant championships mean nothing to me. They mean absolutely nothing to me in the grand scheme of what legacy chasing is supposed to be about. And even Kevin Durant knew that when he left there to try to go build his own in Brooklyn, and he couldn't even do that because he didn't want to be alpha dog. Anyway, I respect everything about LeBron. The one thing that I don't really jibe with is the fact that he has been so diligent in shaping what his own legacy was going to be, as opposed to just letting it play out.
Yeah. He's really the first guy, and there's going to be many more, but he's the first one that was factoring in legacy and how he would be perceived historically in real time.
Yes.
I mean,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Jeter, none of these guys.
You think Jordan was thinking about that in real time? I don't. No chance. Jordan was thinking about kicking your ass. That's
exactly. Jordan was drafted by a team, and we all saw this in the documentary, a team that, and the NBA was really, laden with drugs. I mean, it wasn't just the Bulls, but the cocaine culture, the 1978 NBA Finals on tape delay before Magic and Bird come and really saved the league. But Jordan goes to a team where he's out there, he's busting ass, as you just said, and guys are like, dude, Rook, calm down. Like, this is not the way we do it. This is the way I do it. If I want to become what I want to become, it's the way I do it. So it was organic. And he played with guys like Dave Corzine. You remember some of these names. You're old enough to remember these scrubs. And it happened in an organic manner. Now, the one thing that I will say, to be fair to LeBron, because I want to try to be fair, is that, people say like, okay, well, he's chasing legacy, and I firmly believe, and we just talked about that. But, I don't know if that infiltrated sport years ago, I mean, not that Magic and Bird had to, but would Dominique Wilkins have done that? Would Patrick Ewing have done that? Would Charles Barkley have done that more? Would Malone and Stockton have done that? I don't know the answer, but to say uniformly, and so resolutely that they would not is probably a little unfair, just like it's probably unfair to say, well, obviously this is a ridiculous example, but it applies somewhat, like, Babe Ruth wouldn't be good today because he was a fat slob. Well, I'm pretty sure if Babe Ruth was coming up now, Babe Ruth would have more of an emphasis on nutrition and all the other stuff. So there's really no one way to answer this because there's a lot of variables, and many of the variables the predecessors of the current players never had to deal with. And I am an overly romantic fan. I romanticize. Like I am sentimental. I admit that. And let's face it, we're in our early 50s at this point, and what we grew up with is radically different from what's going on now. The younger generation doesn't penalize the athletes now. I do, because I saw differently.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't the freedom to do what they wanted to do. All right, that aside, BT with us, Brandon Tierney, join us for the whole hour here. BT Unleashed on YouTube. Check out his YouTube channel and go and subscribe there, as well as the Jets podcast. We got some Jets stuff to get to here very shortly out of this joint practice. But one last thing here: does it annoy you at all, in a sense that it does annoy some people, that the Knicks are playing at noon on Christmas Day?
It's funny. I just said that before. I just did my show. Appreciate the plug, by the way. So it doesn't annoy me, but I believe there's probably a time for a bit of a strategic overhaul. Like there were a couple of years, I mentioned Danilo Gallinari, a couple of years like the Knicks were interested. All right, it's New York, it's the Garden, throw them at noon. I get it. Understood. A couple of West Coast. You want to Curry's running out of time. You want to get him on there. LeBron with the Lakers, and I get it. I get it. But yeah, we're probably, I wouldn't use the word annoy, but I do think that, to be married to the Knicks being a New York team and the logistics and all those other things, which you could overcome if you're willing to, when you're the champion, give me a little higher billing. I mean, it's like, if you go to the old Garden to watch, Hogan and Andre fight, you got to sit through like Iron Mike Sharp wrestle against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, you don't have to be first on the card here, even if you're not the main event, which they should be based on the championship and the number one market size in the country. Yeah, a little disrespectful, but not enough to get nuts over it, Chris.
See, yeah, here's the thing. I at first I was annoyed, but then you look at it logically. The NFL has obviously made their move on Christmas Day.
Which I hate. That bothers me.
I know, but they're going to do it, and they don't care. And in the way that they have done it is they have dropped 3 great games on Christmas Day this year to announce their presence and basically say, screw you, we don't care. I think, honestly, what happened here, so the Knicks play at noon. Green Bay, Chicago is the 1 o'clock game on Christmas Day. I think they probably look at this like, you know what? Our best chance is that the Knicks fans skip the first half of Green Bay, Chicago. And our best game might be best put at noon right there. And as opposed to like, all right, LeBron and the Lakers later on, I just think the average sports fan in New York is more likely to watch Knicks Spurs than they are to watch Green Bay, Chicago, at least in the first half of it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you got fantasy. At that point, fantasy's kind of wrapping up. I mean,
yeah, that's probably playoffs, right? That's week 16.
I'd probably agree with you. I mean, it's an interesting.
I think they put it there just because of where's our best chance to try to win this slot,
to win the New York market. Yeah. It's a good theory. The only problem is I think you're giving the NBA too much credit. I mean, what you just said is very plausible and makes a lot of sense. I can't prove this. I don't think that they incorporated that into their thought process. I don't. Now, I will say this, though. Based on, it would be nice, 8 o'clock at night, all the presents are open, the gut's full, pour scotch, open a bottle of whatever you do and celebrating the holidays, right? Like, it would be appealing to sit down, all right, let's go. Knicks versus Wemby, 8 o'clock at night, here we go. But my kids are still young, transporting, moving around on Christmas Day, which is a very transient day, obviously, people in the car. And like, to me, based on where my kids are and the age, my son's 11, my daughter's 10, like, we'll still be in our pajamas. I'll be on my third helping of fish salad. I'll be having a couple of more shrimp from the night before. The coffee's still
Are you a matching pajamas family?
We are, dude. Oh my God, Chris. Not only we are matching, my wife wastes more money on things that we will wear once than any person in existence. Like, now this is probably the last year my daughter literally just turned 10, where we'll do like a bigger thing. And these birthday parties are they're so expensive.
I don't know how you people are doing this.
Well, me neither, especially with just a YouTube show at this point. I don't know how I'm doing anything. To be honest with you, man.
Hey, can we scale it back a bit?
Yeah. I mean, it was nice when the corporate check was coming in between. Yeah, sure. How much? $1,500. Yeah, when it pay. No, honey, let's tap the brakes, which of course she didn't. But, she has a hat made. We rented a racing track for my daughter and I think 15 of her friends. So there's food, there's a racing track, there's a whole spiel. She gets me a hat, like Racing Dad. I don't even know what it said, like Pit Boss on the shirt. I didn't even wear it that night because it didn't fit. Never wear it again. So yes, but I do like the matching pajamas because even though there's a bit of a Christmas theme, I mean, I'll rock those if it's cold in March. Like I'll throw them on going to bed. So at least those get a little usage, All
right, listen, I'll buy it. But listen, my theory has always been, and I've been married longer than you have, is children ruin your life. But that's just me. That's just me.
And what year? When did you get married, by the way? What year was that, Chris?
07.
Didn't you get married at a pizza joint, if I remember right?
John's Pizzeria on 44th, which is a former church, and it's like a big restaurant that people go to before theater and stuff like that. But yeah, there were pies coming out of the oven, as we said. I do. I'm not kidding.
And I'm sure. And how old were you? You were how old when you actually got married? 32?
4?
It's a good age.
34. Yeah,
it's a good age.
Yeah, no, that hit the spot. I was
ready?
I didn't get in there too early. I had too many people who did that, and they're like,
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
We got to get some Jets here, BT. We're going to get involved in a lot of different ways. I want you to be a part of the show at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. We'll take the calls on the Knicks as well. But there are a couple of developments out at Jets camp. I'll just hit you with them. We'll step aside in a moment. But here's what's happening. I won't keep you on the edge of your seat. David Bailey, this is according to Zach Rosenblatt on Twitter. David Bailey and Luke Gedeke just swung at each other and started a fight in this Jets-Bucs joint practice. Gedeke kept jumping early on reps at Bailey. They talked some smack. Bailey smacked his helmet. Gedeke didn't like that. And also, so Bailey gets into a little bit of a fight, and Geno Smith just threw, quote, another interception. Another easy one right into the arms of Josiah Trotter. Bad day for Geno.
I like the first part. You can't be pushed around as a rookie. Mm-hmm. I hate the second part, which is why Cade Klubnik will probably be pretty important at some point this season. Yeah, Geno, man. Are we going to break here? You want to kind of roll into it now? Tell me.
Let's get into it here in a few minutes. But just wanted to give you a little taste of what that is. And BT and I will get into it next. 800-919-3776 over on the YouTube channel at ESPN New York. Leave your comments. We'll get Brandon involved in those as well. It's Carlin with BT today and Thursday for an hour each day. Love it on ESPN New York.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
That's ESPNNewYorkContests.com.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Hey guys, it's Peter Rosenberg. And listen, you know me. I'm always honest about what's going on with my life. And recently, I've just been dealing with some nagging pain that I've finally decided I wasn't going to ignore anymore. So I ran into my guy, Dr. Jay Shah at Samwell Pain. Decided to set a meeting. And after we talked, I understood why so many people recommend him. He's Ivy League trained, all right? He's the real deal. He's double board certified, and he takes a non-surgical approach to helping people get back to living their lives. If pain is keeping you from enjoying your summer, don't just live with it. Go check out Samwell Pain. Visit SamwellPain.com. Trust me.
When you manage an active facility, disruption is not an option. Tricon Construction specializes in healthcare, commercial, and industrial environments where work needs to happen without shutting operations down. That takes detailed planning, clear communication, and safe, disciplined execution. Because when patients are inside, tenants are working, or production has to keep moving, every decision matters. Tricon understands how to work around your business professionally, safely, and efficiently. For complex work inside active facilities, choose Tricon Construction. Visit TriconBuilds.com. That's TriconBuilds.com.
1-877 cars. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-9087. 800-575-9087. That's 800-575-9087 or simply visit TRA.com.
Gino, right now, in the team periods of this joint practice, this from Connor Hughes, 2 for 6, 2 interceptions in the first 2 team periods today. It's not what you want. It's not what you want. BT, your thoughts?
I mean, I've learned a couple things over the years here, Chris. I've learned to just, kind of let things play out just a little bit. I mean, listen, I was the guy who was, Zach Wilson could spin it, playoffs with Zach. I mean, some of my Jet takes have absolutely rendered me a complete moron. And I've always said that, the Jets have basically turned my brain into mush because what I've watched, I mean, literally every snap I never checked out diligently. There's Jets football, and then there's actually real football. And when you don't watch real football for as long as I have not, your senses become all distorted and you have all these crazy takes. I'm not going to go nuts here. Now, if he came out with 7 for 8 with 2 touchdowns and a red zone, a beautiful back shoulder red zone at the pylon to Garrett Wilson, I also wouldn't come on the show and say, Jets are going to win 10 games, Jets this, Jets that. I understand. It doesn't mean I like what I'm hearing today so far, to be clear, but I understand where they are. And the Jets, to me, obviously have a good offensive line. They're going to run the ball well. Geno, despite today, is going to be much better than whatever was out there a year ago, which was heinous. And you mix in the draft capital, 3 first-rounders next year, a great amount of cap space. I believe a forward-thinking, smart, whether it's between the margins or the big fish tickets in terms of big trades, I think they've got the right GM. Glenn's different. Who knows? And I say this in all sincerity, Chris, even though other Jet teams have gotten me a little excited because you have to rev yourself up. If you're not excited for week 1, what are you doing? The foundation to me of the Jets is about as strong as it's been in a long time. And that's my mindset going into the season. Am I nuts?
No. Part of it for me was that I was a big Joe Douglas guy. And so when they hired him, I thought that was the right move. Even when they did it in the way that they did, I thought they actually did it proactively because he would have been a big candidate the next year. So when they fired McCagnon after the draft and all that, I know it was weird, but I thought it was actually a proactive move. Having said that, I felt the same way probably year 2 in. I would say probably after the Jamal Adams trade that, okay, they know what they're doing here. And it's not to take anything away from Muji. The Jets, to me, are a more talented team right now than the Giants are. I think in the moment, the Jets are the more talented team than the Giants. Now, there are obviously places where you can argue that. The offensive line, there's no argument to me whatsoever. I think the Jet offensive line is much better, and I think the Jet complete package of what their weapons can be is better. But I also, BT, I feel like they're headed in the right direction. I obviously wonder about Geno, and I don't think it's going to be last year in Vegas. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be the 30 touchdown guy in Seattle either.
I would agree with that too. I mean, but look at it this way, just to push this forward. Like, I think it's important, even though we're starting to get that emotion bubbling, getting ready for the start of the season, first preseason game, obviously coming Friday. I get it, and I'm feeling it as well. But, and I'm not even saying you're going micro, but I think it's important to go macro with the Jets. Let's just say for a moment that, because I only think there's two scenarios that can happen to the Jets this year. They're competitive. They win 7-8 games, maybe 9 if they get really lucky, which I don't anticipate 9, but competitive and, knocking on the door of 500. And there's real juice for the next couple of years. And like everything that I just said is kind of validated. The moves they made, Sadiq gets on the field. He's going to be a blur. A bunch of guys that can run. Bailey, 8-9 sacks. Like, it could be a fun, kind of successful year. Then it could be the opposite. And let's just say there's implosion. Let's say they lose to Tennessee out of the chute, which I don't think they will, but let's say they do. And then it's the gauntlet, NFC North, NFC North, NFC North. And let's say you look up, the Jets are 1-5, and before it softens with like the Dolphins and the Raiders and the Vikings on the back end, it's already a lost season. Well, even if that occurs, and it's basically a worst-case scenario, you still have a lot of talent. You still have the O-line. You're right. It's definitely much better than the Giants. And I would agree the Jets have more talent than the Giants do right now. But
the Giants
also,
obviously have a huge coaching advantage. But
no question. Yeah. No question. But also, even if it is worst case, Chris, if it is worst case, Glenn's gone, and it's an appealing job because you got 3 first-round picks, you've got a lot of quarterbacks coming out, you got a boatload of cap space, and you've got foundational pieces in place that are going to make the Jets attractive to whether it's a Tomlin, whomever, like a real coach, My concern, and it's always this with the Jets, Woody's a clown. Woody Johnson's a clown. Woody can't keep his grubby fingers off the product. Even when things are going a little good, he's always like, he worries me. Yeah. So even though there's some stability with the Jets seemingly right now going into year 2 of this regime, you never know when Woody's going to parachute in and usurp all that and turn good energy into negative energy. But I still think the Jets' future is promising. I do.
And I understand that. What I'm really hoping for is that 7 to 8 win season. But we're not talking about the draft. We're talking about the guy that they're practicing against today.
There you go. There you go.
To me, Brandon, if this is a team that wins 7-8 games, a lot of the foundation's already in place.
Yep.
And then it's not, well, let's go draft the right guy. No, then it to me is, let's go get that established guy and bring him here, because then this is somebody you can win with in Baker Mayfield. This is absolutely somebody you can win with. And to me, if you don't take advantage of that opportunity, because he's broken off talks with the Bucs at this point.
Yep.
So with that being the case, and having the picks that you have, I'm not saying you're going to have to trade all 3 to go get them, but trade one of them, and you'll have an opportunity to do something as opposed to drafting a guy and hoping it pans out. Like, you've drafted enough guys. And I know the Rodgers thing didn't work, but we've drafted enough guys here.
Yeah. And listen, I don't really think this is going to happen, but I'm not going to say no. But that's why, like the Jets will never be this fortunate. I probably understand this, but imagine if Cade Klubnik eventually, is their young guy who kind of comes out of nowhere like other teams do.
So Brandon, I'm glad you brought it up, because here's what's interesting about that. A year ago, this is a guy that's at the top of the draft.
He was.
And leading up to it, I talked to some people about it, and a couple of different people said the same thing. I don't know what the hell Clemson was doing with him last year. A lot of people pointed to their coaching staff. So he's intriguing to me. Like, I don't know that he supplants Geno, but he certainly should make Geno feel uncomfortable at some point here.
Yeah. And what I don't want to see happen is Geno play horrendous football, and then and I don't think they would do this, give Cade Klubnik 2 games at the end in December when there's 30,000 empty seats and the team's checked out. Like, one thing you've got to get, Chris, you've got to have a definitive answer on if you think Cade Klubnik is a realistic option moving forward for the Jets. Because if he is, and again, it's a little bit of a reach, but I'm with you, and you do the college game, so you know this more than me. He's a guy who's played 40 games in college. I heard the same things about the way they used him, the schematics. Like, he's gone through some injuries, so he's proven to be resilient. He's got a good arm. He's got good leadership. So at least that's a window of possibility. Now, if they ever got that fortunate and they moved up 18 spots to get him, so you knew they didn't like him. They really liked him. That's not 2 spots. That's almost 20 spots. So if the Jets are right, well then, and this would be optimal, now you got the 3 first-round picks next year. Imagine if you didn't have to take a quarterback. Let's go get a shutdown. Let's go get a shutdown corner. Let's go get the number 1 safety on the market. And like, you could do so many things. But let me at least punch back on Baker. I got a couple questions for you. Number 1, and I like Baker. If Baker's so good, why don't the Bucs want him?
I think the Bucs at this point probably, I can't understand why they don't want to give him longer. It sounds like it's about years. So the Bucs, the last extension they gave him was like 2 years and whatever it was, $50 million per. And it sounds like they wanted to do something similar, whereas Baker at 32 is looking for that longer deal. And I don't blame him at this point.
He's right. He's earned that. Keep going.
But when we compare, I can't factor in why the Bucs don't want him in that thought process. Number 1, the Bucs are not the Baltimore Ravens. The Bucs are not a team that I have to say, well, they're geniuses all the time. I can count on somebody else making a mistake. But, BT, like, the low end for Baker is what you got last year, which was 26-11 and 3,700 yards. Yep. And if that's the low end, if that's the basement, I'm good. I can go win games.
And he was hurt last year, Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
And he still played.
But he still played. Yeah. He's played
and
every damn
well.
game for the Bucs the last few years. The dude's going to be out there. I know that too. So I'm not. If it was an organization, if it was Pittsburgh, if it was San Francisco, I might look at it a little bit differently. If it's Tampa Bay, okay. I mean, they won a championship because they went and signed Brady.
It's a fair answer. It's a fair answer, right? So now let me pivot to this and get your opinion and your answer on this. Do you envision Baker Mayfield as the kind of guy who can roll in to the new Bills Stadium against Josh Allen in his absolute prime, or into Arrowhead, or down to Baltimore, or whatever the Chargers, if they get there, whomever it might be, and win in a divisional matchup or the AFC Championship to get to the Jets to the Super Bowl? Because if the answer is no, I'm not interested. At this point, everything's got to be – I'm done with the incremental baby steps, Chris.
Well listen,
why?
Brandon,
I want to win a championship there.
You bring something up here that was something I was talking about yesterday. I'm tired of celebrating competence. I don't want to celebrate competence. Like, big deal. If the Jets are competent this year, I'm not going to celebrate that. If they're, I'll enjoy my season a little bit more, but that doesn't mean much to me. What I would say to your question is, I would believe in that if these playmakers are what we think they are. If Garrett Wilson is that level of receiver, and I think he can be, and he's already had over 1,000 yards in bad years.
Yes.
I'm a huge Sadiq guy. I just need to see him on the field. God,
love him.
Just get on the damn field.
I know, man.
And
Come on.
And I'm a big Breece Hall guy too. And I think if these guys are playing at that high level, then yes, Baker can go and do that, because then I think he's got, I hate the word swagger, but he's got the arrogance to him to go in and be able to think, I don't give a damn about who I'm playing. I got these guys, let's go.
And that's appealing. That's
and
the kind of guy.
I don't give a damn that I'm trying to do this for the New York Jets. Nobody's ever done it before. I'll enjoy the fact that I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, he prospers in those situations. Let's face it, he's not from quarterback factories. When he hit the conveyor belt and was given gifts that some quarterbacks have and some he doesn't, a lot of his best qualities are not necessarily quantifiable. Like, he's not sitting there 6'5". He never ran a Lamar-type 40, or even Mahomes when Mahomes was young, or even Herbert's athleticism. He is a guy who is accurate, who has, massive stones. I don't know how else to say it. And a guy that when he comes out of that tunnel, the other 52 dudes are saying that we're going to win because of him. And that brings great appeal. So I respect your answer. I don't even necessarily disagree. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, it's just that, all right, look at 2 years ago. Baker threw 40 touchdowns. Is Baker throwing 40 touchdowns if he doesn't have Mike Evans, if he doesn't have the guys that they had on that team? I don't think so. I don't know that Baker is definitively making a ton of guys better around me, but I know if I give him the weapons, he can get him the football.
I think that's well said. There's a lot of guys, depends on how you grade this out. But so let me take that back. There are some guys that could show up and take a B-, C+ receiving core, but based on their sheer brilliance and arm talent and elusive nature, whatever they might possess characteristically, like athletically, they're going to raise that crew to a team that's still going to be a threat to put 35 points on a board any week because he's that good. That's not Baker. But then there's other guys who have immense talent, great arm talent, bigger bodies, quicker twitch, but they're not going to give you that emotional consistency as a leader, but also avoid bottoming out. Like if you hand Baker Mayfield a good roster, you're going to have a good season. That to me is irrefutable. Irrefutable.
We've got another fight.
Nice.
Another fight.
What we got?
This is from Rich Samini, who, of course, Brandon does the podcast with Jake Asman, the Jets Collective. In addition to BT Unleashed, his YouTube channel, Brandon Tierney with us for the hour. All right, so this is from Rich Samini. This one bigger than the first, this fight. Jets starting defense against the Bucs starting O. Looks like Bailey and Gedeke again. Stiggers got involved. Looks like Stiggers' helmet got tossed by a Buck. Happened when Monroe picked off Mayfield. Benches emptied. Order now restored.
I love it. Don't restore order. Let him go. Let him go, man. You try to change the culture. And it's interesting, too, because, Aaron Glenn, and, you and I remember him with Parcells. I remember even seeing him once or twice at A&M before we got all the college games everywhere. I don't know if he's going to be a really good coach, but I do believe at his core he's a leader of men, and I believe he's a no-nonsense guy. And like the Jets, you've got to start with an attitude. You've got to start with a conviction. And the fact that goes back to what you said with Bailey the first time. Somebody's jumping off sides or somebody's jumping early and slapping you in the head. If you don't push back, and I'm not saying you drop kick the guy in the throat here, but if you don't show some physical pushback and if you're not wired that way, then that's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. So I love that Bailey had no problem getting into it. It seems like the Jets had Stiggers is back, which I love. Now, it doesn't portend that they're going to be an 11-win team, but you got to start somewhere when you've got a paucity of talent, which too many times the Jets have had over the years, and you've got an absence of attitude. Well, that's why you wind up winning 3 games. So it just seems like the talent is, I know the talent's immeasurably better than it's been. And if the attitude's next to it, all right, Chris, we're cooking. Let's go.
Brandon Tierney with us until noon today. He'll also be with us on Thursday for an hour from 11 to noon on Carlin, ESPN New York, ESPN New York YouTube channel. We'll get more in on the Giants as well shortly. And they'll try to squeeze in a thought or two on the Yankee offense, but that might be all that's worth. It's Carlin with BT on ESPN New York.
There are a million reasons to love New York. Making your budget stretch isn't one of them. According to an independent study, Amazon prices average 14% lower than other retailers. Get food, fashion, furniture, and more shipped straight to your building. Plus, another study found Amazon Prescription Pass customers pay nearly 1/3 less out of pocket. Learn more at aboutamazon.com.
They know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Harry Douglas here to help you ignite your taste buds with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots. Juicy cherry, citrus lime, and blue raspberry. It's that iconic freezer pop flavor, but with none of that guilty sugar aftermath. The perfect summer kick. It's delicious, portable, zero sugar energy shot bursting with flavor. Bring on the summer with Firework Freeze 5-Hour Energy Shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com and on Amazon.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
This is the Michael K. Show.
It's unfortunate that they are letting this string of amazing pitching performances be wasted. Because if you look at the way the Yankees are constructed, they've got a great top three in the starting rotation. Bottom line is, the Yankees, because of their lack of offense, have put themselves in an unenviable situation.
The Michael K. Show, weekdays at 1 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube. Presented by the Parisman Firm.
Brandon Tierney with us today for an hour between 11 and 12. Also will be with us on Thursday. Carlin on ESPN New York. He, of course, BT Unleashed. Check out the Daily Show on the YouTube channel. Does a tremendous job with it and building it really from the bottom up. And you've done a great job here in the first few months. You're already a ton of subscribers. And also at the same time, this podcast with Jake and with Rich on the Jets. I know how much you love the Jets. This has got to be a little bit extra fun for you, too.
Oh, it is. No, it's, and I appreciate you saying that about the show. I mean, you've been through this stuff, man. It's, I love the business, and the business has treated me really well. I mean, pretty much before what went down, pretty much 25 years uninterrupted on the air, you know, and 9 or 10 of which were at 1050 ESPN radio. So very thankful for it. And, you know, I think it shows adaptability, how things I try to teach my kids, like you got to be resilient, you got to fight, you got to work hard. Well, yeah, if Daddy didn't pivot and get off the ground, then everything I said would be pretty much baseless. So it's a grind, but it's a rewarding grind, and I love it. So I appreciate you saying that.
No, it's good stuff, and the energy and the passion and everything you know about BT is there more than ever for sure. Now I got to get this, the Dart thing. This is not an anti-Giant thing, and for whatever reason, it's been portrayed that way. For at least toward me, because I really don't have a bias either way on either of these teams. But I just feel like we're still all just jumping the gun a bit. Like this season is about improvement and all that for the team as a whole. But if you're more focused on winning 8-9 games than you are on Dart certifying, locking in himself as the guy, then I think you're not seeing the forest for the trees here. Because if Dart, and I know it sounds a little counterintuitive to suggest that the Giants would win 8-9 games and Dart would just be okay. But at the same time, like if for whatever reason they improved a lot defensively and you felt like Dart was all right, but he's still making the same kind of mistakes, like BT, I don't care if they win 5 or 6 games. That guy's got to prove that he's the guy this year, period.
Yeah. I mean, that's listen, that's ticket number one.
Do you think he's the guy already? Put it that way.
I do. I love him. I love Jaxson Dart. I do. I mean, the measurables, quick twitch, good arm, good placement, swag. I think he's the kind. I know we had some stuff obviously with the locker room that he had to talk about, whatever. But I think he's the kind of guy that he's a unifier. I think no matter where you're from, what part of the country, whatever you subscribe to politically, whatever race you are, I think Jaxson Dart's the kind of young man that just exudes like a certain charisma that young athletes are going to follow. Now you got to put the numbers up behind it, otherwise it's very hollow. But I think he's the real deal. Listen, I'm not as worried about him with the concussions. You'll learn. I mean, anybody could get concussions. I get it, but I'd rather have a quarterback who's lowering his pads, trying to earn some stripes in the locker room and with the fan base, and eventually figure it out and say, all right, for the betterment of my career and more importantly, the direction of the organization, I got to know when to tap out and avoid the hit, which I believe he will, than the converse, than a guy who's kind of ducking and always sliding. He's got a backbone, and I'm going to start with that. I like that. But to me, Chris, I don't want to say it's less about Dart because that makes no sense. It's the quarterback. Very simply put, it's about the Giants getting back to being the Giants.
Yeah.
And it's one thing for like the Jets, and no disrespect, the Mets to lose their way. But when a team like the Yankees, not that they've lost it at all to the extent that the Giants have, but like if the Yankees or the Giants, even the Rangers, like there's just more cachet, more expectation. You're a platinum brand, and you have not acted like one for a long time. I thought the owner got a little heavy-handed. There was some sloppy hires. There was malfunctions, and it was dysfunctional. Become the Giants again. Learn to play defense, play with pride, have a leader who steps up to the microphone and everybody knows who's in charge. And then the dominoes should kind of fall in the right direction. So I hear you on Dart. I hear you on the win.
See, I'm treating all of that, though, like I'm treating all of that, BT, like that's going to be a given. That's how much I respect Harbaugh.
Okay. Well, what if it's not? I mean, what if they're 2-6?
I mean, if they're 2-6, I just don't think the Giants are a great football team.
I don't either.
Right now. So if they're 2-6, that's a very real possibility. And when you go look at their schedule, if they're not 2-2, something's gone horribly wrong. Mm-hmm. And if they find the people thinking you're going to go win 8-9 games, look at the second half of that year of what's coming up. You better have 6 by Thanksgiving at least, if not 7, if you think you're going to win 8 or 9.
It's the opposite of the Jets.
Yeah.
Really, in a lot of ways, yeah.
So,
I got you.
Anyway, my point there is just I'm treating Harbaugh with that much respect that from a culture standpoint, he's going to change it. Not talking about the political stuff here. Talking about, because I think he actually got put in a bad spot when that whole thing happened. But
I think?
Yeah.
I agree with you.
That aside, I still worry a little bit about the maturity. Not just the sliding and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The other stuff.
Well, there's a little piece of Jaxson Dart, and it's easy for me to say this because I'm in my early 50s, and the only time I go out is basically to my fire pit or, to a kid's game or dinner. Like, I'm not running around, obviously. I'm married. I've got responsibilities. But, so it's easy for me to say that now. But if I was, listen, I know what I did in my 20s and 30s, man. I get it. So if I'm 20-something years old and I'm the quarterback of the Giants and I look the way Jaxson Dart does and I've got a girlfriend that looks the way she does and I've got every door opened and every velvet rope lifted up, you want to come to the Knicks, you want to play golf, you want to go on this yacht, you want to go to this club in Miami, as long as he's able to compartmentalize, which I believe that he is, to like when it's time to lock in, and it's obviously now, and be diligent with the film and be the leader at practice and go balls out and do what you got to do, you can kind of thread the needle for a couple of years and do both because these young players are kind of used to that with the phone, with the IG, with the clicks, with the persona. And we might not love it, but they're better equipped to deal with it than we were at that age because we weren't exposed to it. I hear you. I don't think, not immature. Sometimes he seems a little distracted with some of the other stuff, but I don't think it's going to be a point where it gets him off the path of being the man. I think he's going to be great.
BT, here's the good news. We got a ton to talk about on Thursday between 11 and 1. That's for sure.
Yes.
Or 11 and 12, rather.
Yeah,
Good hour. Enjoyed it. We will talk to you then, brother. Thanks for popping on.
My pleasure. Line up some Yankee stuff, man. Got to talk about those Yankees.
Oh, yes,
sticks.
we do.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I gotta talk some Yankees with you, Carlin.
Well, check out what BT has had to say on BT Unleashed, his YouTube channel about that, The Daily Show, and, of course, the Jets podcast with Jake and with Rich Cimini, Jets Collective. But we will have BT on again on Thursday for an hour. Looking forward to it, man. Thanks again.
Can't wait, buddy. Thank you for having me today. I'll talk to you, man.
That's Brandon Tierney. In moments, some more NFL. Kevin Clark of the This Is Football podcast joins us on ESPN New York.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
The U.S. Open kicks off with Fan Week, Sunday, August 23rd through Saturday, August 29th. The grounds are free and open to the public, featuring top player practices, live entertainment, a silent disco, block party, and more. Plus, new this year, Fan Week begins with Arthur Ashe Kids Day on Sunday, August 23rd. Grounds entry is free, but a fan access pass is required. Register now and learn more at usopen.org/fanweek.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. At Rings End, they're there to help realize your modern design visions. That's why they partner with Marvin. Engineered for big ideas, Marvin modern windows and doors deliver effortless elegance, expansive views, and industry-leading innovation, all in a modular system designed to meet the exacting principles of modern architecture. Experience Marvin Modern at a Rings End showroom today and create something stunning with them. Rings End is a certified Marvin installing retailer.
When care matters most, experience matters more. The Allure Group is redefining rehabilitation and long-term care across New York with 6 convenient locations. Their expert clinicians create personalized care plans to help you recover, rebuild, and get back to what matters most. From short-term rehab to long-term care, Allure is committed to comfort, dignity, and results. To learn more, visit allurecare.com. The Allure Group, where care meets compassion.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Shohei Ohtani's interpreter was fired today. Ippei Mitsuhara ran up gambling debts to a Southern California bookmaking operation.
The inside story of the biggest scandal in modern baseball.
He was absolutely bananas, the amount of bets he was making. I've never seen anything like it.
From 30 for 30 podcasts, this is The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani.
Presented by Gusto. Episodes 1 and 2 available now. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
ESPN New York is your home for the world champion New York Knicks. WHSQ and WCBS FM HD2, New York. This is Carlin.
You know I am not that bright.
On ESPN New York.
Fat, bald, nasally, I got it.
And streaming live on YouTube.
You're welcome. I tell you that there are a couple of podcasts that make you smarter about sports. I say that about baseball tonight with Buster Olney. I say that about the Hoop Collective. And I say that about This Is Football with Kevin Clark from Omaha Productions and ESPN. He's just off of his training camp tour, and he was, of course, yesterday on First Take. And he joins us right now, and he is rocking, shockingly, the University of Miami hat. How you doing?
I've spent a lot of money on Miami golf hats this summer, and I'm not done yet, Carlin.
Really?
I don't. That's what I spend. My wife yesterday was like, no more Miami stuff. We got stuff around the house. We gotta improve.
You have a
We're trying to build a library. I have a well, the child. No, I'll tell you what. The child is getting also Miami stuff. I bought him the Franklin. Do you remember those Franklin? They still make them for the NFL, but like the kids' football uniforms. Did you have one of those as a kid?
Yeah, I had an Eagles one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the college ones are very limited. So I found an old Miami one on eBay. I paid 3 figures for it yesterday, and I feel great about it. My kid has to have a Miami helmet. This is not.
Paid
This is 2026.
I hope that was like with a decimal point in the middle somewhere. If you're paying 3 figures for that thing,
it was like $110. You cannot put a price on it.
Well, they certainly tried, and they got you on it for sure. Listen, first of all, I never got more texts about Mohamed Touré in my life. But by the way, changed the way that he pronounced his name when he went to Miami. It became Touré, as opposed to me calling him Touré for 4 years at Rutgers. But I did not need to see him all over the place leading Miami to being one of the leaders and getting him to a national championship game.
Do you know what modern college football is all about? Let's talk Rutgers here for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Is when Miami lost the Pinstripe Bowl, which might be the lowest they've been in the Mario Cristobal era.
It was a great
day. The
day.
guy holding up the trophy in the photo that everybody shows was Mo Touré. And so we went from he was probably the best player on the field that game because it couldn't pass, so it was all run game. And then a year later, 2 years later, he's the starting linebacker, winning a game for us in College Station. He comes back for another year. So that's what college football is about. You can inflict a horrible moment on a team, and then a year later, you're the starting middle linebacker. That's 2026 in college football.
Interesting that you would call that the low point. I would have thought, and I'm not being a jerk here when I say this.
No.
I would have thought it was when he did not take the knee against Georgia Tech, and they lost that game. I would have thought that was the one.
Yeah, there's a couple. We could do the whole segment on this. I'll just say this. I felt losing to Rutgers is a bad benchmark when you consider, all respect to Rutgers, but if you remember like 2006, 2007, everybody's saying, well, Shiana should be the Miami coach. Shiana turned them down. They were getting all these really good kids from South Florida that either Coke or Randy Shannon was missing on. I'd rather lose to Georgia Tech than Rutgers. I'll put it that way.
All right, we'll see you in hell then, Kevin. How about that? Let's talk. New York football has been hell over the last several years.
Still
for sure. So let's just start here with your evaluation. Is anything going to improve this year? And by improve, you can start with either team that you want.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for people to watch after Thanksgiving? That's where we're setting the bar right now.
Wow. Okay. There's.
In other words, can either
things.
one find themselves in the hunt column over on the right side when they make the graphic come Thanksgiving?
No, but they're both going to be improved in their own way. I was surprised at the excitement the Giants fans have. So I want to tell the story from yesterday. So yesterday, I think the Laramie Tunsil injury in Washington is a really big deal because he's their second best player. If you consider, he might be the best player. Like when you consider that he's a top 5 tackle and Jane Daniels isn't a top 5 quarterback right now. He will be. I think he'll end up being the best player in his draft class. But so yesterday I'm on TV and I just kind of offhandedly say, well, this Commanders injury puts them closer to the Giants than it does the Cowboys and the Eagles. So I expect to hear Commanders fans get upset. And I do hear Commanders fans get upset. But I checked Instagram last night. Giants fans are incredibly offended en masse on social media that I implied that the Giants weren't already better than the Commanders or that they're still somehow better. And I want to caution a couple things. Number one, John Harbaugh is a really good coach. I spent a lot of time with him. Him winning over the locker room and then that coaching job in Baltimore and early in his tenure was incredible. And I don't think he gets enough credit, Chris, for what he did with Lamar Jackson. I remember a nugget a couple years ago that the Patriots love Lamar Jackson, but they knew they had to change their entire operation if you change as far as running the offense, how you evaluate wide receivers, offensive line, all that stuff. They didn't want to do it at the end of Brady. Well, guess what? The Ravens had a starting quarterback in Joe Flacco, and they said, screw it. We're going to go ahead and get Lamar Jackson, change everything, build a great offensive line around him, give him everything he needs basically every step of the way to get him 2 MVPs on the doorstep of Super Bowl contention. So I think John Harbaugh is an awesome coach. I still think that there's a ways to go with the roster. I don't think Joe Shane's been a very good GM. That's not someone I would have been handing out a contract extension to necessarily. However, the job changes, Carlin. When you become Ryan Poles in Chicago is a good example of this. I don't think Ryan Poles built a very good team, but when you bring in a Ben Johnson, the GM's job becomes the coach's buddy. And if the coach says you're good at being my buddy, you get to stay. That's just the way I evaluate it. So I'm not going to freak out over Shane keeping his job. But I look at the top tier talent. Abdul Carter. I know that there was obviously some issues with meetings or whatever, falling asleep. I think he led the NFL in quick pressures last year. Budding superstar. Brian Burns, we know what he can do. Jaxson Dart, we know what he has to do. He has to protect himself better. But I did see a lot of I still think Cam Ward's going to end up being a better player. But I saw a lot of plays last year where he made the right read, made the right throw, receivers let him down, right, with Jaxson Dart. And so I still think there's room to grow there, even though he showed a lot there. So there's reason for optimism. But when I say that, I mean 8 wins. I don't mean 10, 11 wins. I don't think John Harbaugh is, I think the way typically to have a huge turnaround is have an offensive miracle worker like Ben Johnson in Chicago last year. And by the way, Caleb Williams is better than Jaxson Dart. So there's that. Or you get really lucky. And we've seen that before. And that's sometimes not sustainable. So I'm not going to freak out if it's 6 wins this year. I think John Harbaugh is going to build something. With the Jets, I'm less excited about the long term. I'll say, one thing is that, bringing in a guy like Omar Cooper is really important, because when you talk to guys around the league, we had Sauce Gardner on the show. I said, who's the hardest receiver you ever went against? He said, Garrett Wilson. And I had people in the league texting me saying, what you see out of Garrett Wilson, who, by the way, might be the most talented receiver in the league or might be a top 5 receiver, he's got nobody else on the offense. So they can just key in on him and nothing happens. So you bring in Omar Cooper Jr. I like the idea of them bringing in the Indiana guys. And I'm not trying to be flippant here, guys, but Indiana just changed their program's culture in a way no college football team ever has in the history of the sport. Okay. No team ever has on the short list. This is, you follow college ball. This is similar to if Bill Snyder had taken Kansas State and won the national championship with them in 1998, right?
Yeah.
This is similar to Northwestern, right, in 1995, where Gary Barnett took them to the Rose Bowl if they'd won the national championship, right? He did it. He went 15, 16, and 0. I like the Indiana guys coming into the Jets as rookies, because whoever fixes the Jets is going to have to do a culture change like that, whether it's Aaron Glenn, Darryl Muzier, whoever. And those guys are going to buy in immediately. So actually, I like that. But to answer your question, are either of these teams contending in December? Probably not.
Kevin Clark with us, who just basically implied that Kirk Cignetti will be the Jets coach next year. That's what I took out of what you had to say.
Hey, Mike Tannenbaum has been banging this drum for a year now. The Raiders should have hired Kirk Cignetti. The Jets should hire Kirk Cignetti. I just don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. But anyway, the This Is Football podcast, you get smarter about football. I've gotten smarter about football in the last 6 minutes with Kevin, as you always do. Great stuff.
Maybe more depressed, too, if you're a Jets or Giants fan.
Well, but it's not that. See, I want to discuss the Giant part of it, too, because I do think there's a delusion to what's going on. The single most... To me, and tell me if I'm wrong, the single most important thing to the Giants this season has nothing to do with how many games they win. It's that Dart is definitively the guy and Malik Neighbors is healthy. Period. End of sentence. That's all that matters this season for the Giants. Yes, culture, all that other stuff too.
Yeah.
But I trust that Harbaugh's going to do that. That kind of is a given to me when I hired him. Dart is not done yet.
I want to see more from Dart. Obviously, as I said, he was on the right track last year. I think that it's really hard to make sure you're on the right track in year one. John Harbaugh is going to know what it looks like. That the Ravens team he inherited was much different from this Giants team. I remember that was almost 20 years ago at this point, but he remembers how to turn around a team. I think the most important thing, Carlin, is unfortunately the Giants have shown themselves to not know how to run their organization. Mm-hmm. And when you start looking back on it, you see, oh man, for most of the time, somebody set the standard there and then everyone lived up to it. Bill Parcells, George Young set the standard 30 years ago, right? Ernie Accorsi, Tom Coughlin set the standard there. And then I kind of think they thought it was easy because it was in some regards, right? Like somebody sets the watch and then just starts rolling. And all of a sudden you're hiring Ben McAdoo. All of a sudden you're hiring Pat Shermer. All of a sudden you're hiring these guys. And the standard that was set by Tom Coughlin, and then before that, and Ernie Accorsi, George Young, and Bill Parcells, the standard gets eroded and you don't know how to get back on track. So last November, I remember calling for a Harbaugh or a Tomlin to be the coach of the Giants, because someone's got to get back in there and tell management how to run this organization. And by the way, that's not unique. I mean, it looks like this, are the Steelers and the way they run things, is that going to keep going under Mike McCarthy? I don't know. Do you need a stronger guy in there? I don't know. But I'm just saying that you needed a guy in there who's going to say, hey, this is how you run a winning organization. I think that's the most important thing. John Harbaugh establishing that, not being afraid. I mentioned I wouldn't have wanted Joe Schoen to be a part of that future, but he is. Harbaugh signed off on it. Fine. I just think that there's, and there's going to probably at some point, what the hell is going on with the Tisches and the Koch family buying into it and all that stuff. Like, there's just going to be a lot of changes in that organization in the next decade, and you got to have someone like John Harbaugh showing everybody what it looks like. And I think that's the most important thing, year one. And by the way, Giants fans may not see that in September and October. They may not see the results, but that's more important to me than whether or not you beat the Commanders in October.
Kevin Clark with us. This is Football Podcast from Omaha Productions and ESPN. You are not as high on the Jets as you've said. I've made the contention, I believe the Jets, this is not saying they're a great roster. They're more talented than the Giants. Are you not a believer, when you made the comment about Wilson, are you not a believer in Breece Hall, maybe what Sadiq's capable of? You mentioned Cooper. I feel like they've got some really good pieces there with the offensive line as well.
Yeah, so when I was saying the Wilson thing, I was talking about last year and before they taxed the draft and all that stuff. Yeah.
But I do guess, am I overrating the Jets' talent in my mind right now?
This is the first. I gotta tell you, this is the first time it's crossed my desk. You thought the Jets were talented, but they got a shot. They're a young team. The weirdest thing to me, I mean, I think David Bailey certainly has a chance to be really good. D'Angelo Pons. I mean, there were so many. I had so many Indiana guys on my show, and all of them said D'Angelo Pons is so underrated. I don't think Cade Klubnik's much of a guy. And as Cooper from the University of Miami, I think is going to be a real good steal. Just physical, knows what to do all the time, culture setter, all that stuff. It remains to be seen. Sadiq, I have to wait and see on that. I don't think Gino's the guy. It sounds like Gino struggled to practice today. I think you might be overrating the talent there a little bit. I think that the Giants are more talented. I'm yet to see an Abdul Carter type of young player on the Jets. We'll see what David Bailey in a month from now. I'm incredibly open to that. And so for me, there's just a lot of young players on both teams that have the chance to pop. But I don't think either of these teams are within 2 years of contending for the division.
Okay, as we said, you have just come off your training camp tour. Give me a couple of the highlights here. Give me the couple of things that you took away, where you visited, and the biggest takeaways you had.
So I did most of the upper Midwest. I did Buffalo. I did Philly. I do think the Philly's offense is going to be really good for Jalen Hurts. Middle of the field type stuff, misdirection, putting linebackers in conflict. I really do think that's going to help. And also, I mean, listen, man, when you go to Philly, you realize what it takes. And maybe that's why I grade with maybe a sharper pencil. I don't know what that phrase is. Grade and pen. I forget what it is. But
I know what you mean.
I grade a little harsher. Yeah. Because my first camp tour, Carlin, was in Philly. And you're seeing them sign Jalen Carter. And the first conversation was, well, how are they going to get Quinion Mitchell under contract? How are they going to get Cooper DeJean under contract? Moro Ojomo is there. He's really good. Jonathan Grenard, they traded for. And I'm looking at this roster, and I'm saying, man, we're all predicting this team to falter. We're predicting this team to be middle of the road or 11 wins or 10 wins, and their coach is going to get fired. And then I look at every other roster. I go to the Bills next, and I'm saying, who's the best player on the Bills? After Josh Allen, obviously. Like, Josh Allen, it might be the best player in football. Who's number two? Deion Dawkins, who they say has faded a little bit last year. They're talking about Spencer Brown out there. Greg Rousseau in the new 3-4 defense. It doesn't jump out at you. If you go and then you look at real deal contenders in whether that's the Rams, whether that's the Eagles, some of these other teams, to me, the barrier for entry to compete for a Super Bowl is higher than it's ever been, because I think teams know how to take chances, how to stack the roster. And a team like the Eagles is so talented, and then there's still a gap with the Rams. And so that was the biggest thing to me, is going through the upper Midwest and you see a Minnesota, for instance. You say, oh, Minnesota could be really good. Well, they have Justin Jefferson. They've got some really good linebackers, but they still have a huge talent gap with a team like the Eagles. They still have a huge talent gap, I think, on offense with a team like the Cowboys. And so going around and getting different eyes on the NFL at large was really eye-opening. I think that the Packers are going to be really, really good, and they're going to be able to weather the storm while Micah Parsons is out, which sounds like that's till mid-October at the very least. I think that this is going to sound crazy. I like Todd Monken more than most people would think. I've sat down with him twice now. I think he's perfect for what Cleveland is going through right now. I don't know if you saw this, but they kind of tried to trap him into a Shedeur Deshaun Watson question, and he said, "You're not going to trap me," and used a couple curse words at the press conference today. That's the type of guy Cleveland needs.
I knew they tried to trap him.
Yeah, and that's the type of guy Cleveland needs. I went to Commanders and Ravens over the weekend. Commanders, staying in division here at the end in the NFC East. Again, I thought that the Tunsil injury is a big deal, but I think that's a really talented team. It has the capability to be a talented team. And one thing I think that Jaden Daniels is growing more into being a franchise quarterback every day. I think he was injured last year, but I think there's a lot to work with. They got a new offensive coordinator. They're trying to build in more explosives. So, you go around, you can talk yourself into basically any team I went to, with the exception, God love them, of the Browns, you can talk yourself into. But it is a really hard league this year because the AFC's wide open, and then the Rams have such a huge advantage. And then I think it's the Eagles, Cowboys, and then kind of a free-for-all after that. It is a stacked, top-heavy league this year.
I got 15 other things I could get into. I'll just hit you with the last one here. Who takes the fall this year? Who's the team that falls off?
Well, I think the Steelers are going to be. Yeah. I don't know. They're not going to go 1-0 with Mike McCarthy.
They could win 6 games.
Well, listen, they're not going to go 1-0 with Mike McCarthy because they've had 3 coaches in 1968 or whatever the heck the stat is, right? So they're not going to fire him, but I don't think they're going to be very good with Aaron Rodgers. I know Jets fans will agree with me there. So Steelers are a team that I'm circling for absolute certain. I'm not yet there on. I don't think they're going to be awful. I'm not that there on the Jaguars hype like everybody else is. They still think they've got ways to go in the AFC. And then listen. Ben Johnson said it about the regression. It would not shock me if the Bears were more middle of the pack than they were a leap team.
Tough schedule.
I don't. Yeah, tough schedule. If you can't rush the passer, what we talked about here, we talked about Abdul Carter and David Bailey and Brian Burns and all these guys being X factors. Nobody can rush the passer in Chicago, and they were catching picks last year at a really high rate. Which either they've got the best DBs in history, which by the way they did, and they had really good ones, and some of them left. And then Kobe Bryant gets hurt. But if you can't rush the passer, you can't win the Super Bowl in this league. We saw that over and over and over again in these playoffs. So that's a team I'm circling as well.
Kevin Clark, this is football. Check out the podcast. Great stuff, especially from the tour over the last week. And as I said, you flat out get smarter about the game from Omaha Productions, and you see him all over ESPN all the time. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, talk to you soon. I want to be more optimistic about what the Giants and Jets situation is, and as you heard from him, he is not as optimistic on where the Jets are headed. I don't think we disagree on the Geno Smith thing in the least. None of us is going to sit here and think that Geno is leading the Jets to the playoffs this season. I think it's foolhardy to suggest that. I don't think the Giants are a playoff team this year. He was not as optimistic because I'm putting the bar at Thanksgiving, which is what? Week 10, Week 11, Week 12, right? That's where I just want to still have a reason to be in the hunt column. And if the Giants are going to win their games, it's going to be before Thanksgiving. Like if you're hoping to have the second half of the year mean something, well, you need to do a lot of your damage before Thanksgiving. You need to win 6 games before you get to that point, because that second half of the year is absolutely brutal. And it's not even second half. It's last 6 games. It's like 5 out of the last 6 go into places that you don't have a chance to win these games. You don't. And unless you're talking about Philadelphia at the end of the season being a game that doesn't mean anything for them. And as far as the Jets are concerned, we have another fight. We have a third fight, Tom. Is that accurate? We had another fight earlier that just transpired out of Jet camp with the Bucs?
There have been either 3 or 4 fights at this point, Chris. There's been a lot going on in that Jets practice. There's also a report going around that they had to call an ambulance. I believe it was for a Jets player on the scene. Oh, boy. I believe people are saying it was Stiggers. That's what's being reported, which isn't great. No update on that, but there's a lot. It's a very chippy practice going on between the Jets and the Bucs.
Hopefully he's okay. That's always a scary moment. Whenever they're bringing obviously dummy, whenever they're bringing the ambulance to practice, it scares the hell out of you. And I've seen it before, but I just also, I'm really, really interested in what Baker has to say. I'm assuming that one of the Jets reporters or one of the New York reporters will make their way over to Baker, considering he's broken off talks with the Bucs. Just say, hey, what do you think about this place in the future? And I guarantee you that Baker Mayfield and his agent, his representation team, has had the discussion over the last few days of, well, we're nowhere here with this contract with the Bucs. You know, maybe if you get asked about this, maybe they even plant the question with somebody, which has been known to happen too. Maybe if you get asked about this, you don't shut the door on it altogether. You say some nice things about the Jets, and then at the end of it, you say, but I'm here to focus and, try to help this team get to the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But if Baker comes in and says, well, you can see the talent that they've obviously got. They've improved quite a bit, and, man, they've got a lot to work with there. But, I'm more focused on this season and what the Bucs are doing. That is your telltale sign that we are planting the little seed, the little tiny seed that we're going to try to turn into a little sprout of Baker to the Jets after this season. And look, if the Jets are in a position where they win 7-8 games, I don't want to talk about the draft. I want to talk about Baker. Carlin, ESPN New York.
Hey, New York and New Jersey, Boost Mobile has an unlimited talk, text, and data plan that's only $25 a month forever, meaning you'll only ever pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. Who wouldn't want unlimited wireless when it only costs $25 a month forever? If you don't, you must be one of those people who enjoy overpaying for their phone plan. $25 a month forever is truly as good as it gets, so go online and switch now at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
There you were, surrounded by fans. Everybody remembers the game. Nobody remembers the guy coughing behind you. Till a few days later, at 2 a.m., you wake up with a fever and your throat's on fire. Now what? Urgent care? Closed. ER? Slammed. Telehealth? Maybe, but the pharmacy's closed. You needed a medical emergency kit. These aren't first aid kits. They contain essential prescriptions used for over 30 common conditions. Sinus and ear infection, UTIs, stomach bugs, traveler's diarrhea, and more on hand before you need them. Use your doctor-developed guidebook to select the right prescription or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. It's like an urgent care and drugstore at home. When you're sick, traveling, or stranded, you'll wish you'd ordered a medical emergency kit. Order online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off and to wear a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Sponsored by the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
Miller time. People think it just happens, but that's not true. You know what you gotta do? You gotta go say hello with some beers. Make the plans. Forget the couch. Go to that thing. Play the game. See them in person. Talk to that stranger. Live a little. Small acts of rebellion that bring us together. Because legendary moments start with a light. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2026 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Whoever said fork in the road must have been hungry for the Sorrento and Sorrento Turbo Hybrid. Their 3-row seating and 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. With a capable Sorrento and Sorrento Turbo Hybrid, every way forward is the right way. Visit your local Kia dealer today. Kia. Movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Drive safely. See retailer for warranty details.
Empower.
After wanting one for years, Kevin is finally enjoying his new hot tub.
This is the life.
He worked with Empower to help him get good at money, so now he could be a little bad.
Oh, no, not my phone.
Oh, Kevin. Kevin's phone may be in hot water, but his finances aren't. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Kenny here to help you get in on the sweet life with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. It's that classic throwback cotton candy flavor, but with 0 sugar and a 5-hour energy boost. I keep these with me so I can tackle that sweet tooth with a tasty caffeine kick and no guilty sugary aftermath. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon.
Carlin, ESPN New York, YouTube channel where you can go, where you can make your comments, where you can be a part of the program. And you can also do it at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. There's a couple little things I want to get to here. Just little tidbits and such. I mean, Tom, we had BT on, so we really didn't do an audio file, so to speak. But there's a couple things here in the sound I'd like to get to. Number one, Cam Scatterbo. NFL Network. He was sitting there with Peter Schrager and Jason McCourty. And, of course, you know he's going to be asked about the backflip, right?
The first one will be a backflip.
Okay.
The first one will be a backflip. I'll clear the air for that. That one will be a backflip due to the fact that, I obviously got hurt last year and people get all nervous and whatever. I've been doing it since I was 4 years old, so it doesn't bother me. But I'll figure out something else to do. But
Love it.
For right now, the first one's a backflip.
First touchdown will be a backflip. Okay. Honestly, dude. I got to be careful because I there are times where I really don't feel like being the old man on the lawn because I love celebrations. Like the pitcher for the Mets last week, Yan, when he leaped up into the air on his first career strikeout, I thought that was awesome. Somebody wants to flip a bat, go nuts. You want to do all that stuff? Enjoy it. It's what the game's supposed to be about. When you put yourself in harm's way routinely, and you're coming off a leg injury last year, and you just want to do whatever it is you want to do, whatever happens to you, that's on you.
I want to do a backflip.
Is that Don?
That was Peter, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, my.
Was that Peter or was that Don?
I want to do a backflip.
That sounds
Peter. That was Peter.
That was Peter, okay.
That sounds suspiciously like Don, but I will credit to the system. That does say Peter in there.
One more time.
I want to do a backflip.
That could be either one. That I'll tell you, that might be the only time where you would get the two of them potentially mixed up, because I just don't. I don't see that could easily be Don. That could easily be Don. Anyway, I'm not a Scatterboo guy. I hope that he is helpful to the Giants' offense. I think the way he plays just lends itself to a very, very short career. The Jets, as we know and as we speak, are practicing. I think they probably are done by now in a joint practice for today. They'll have another one tomorrow with the Bucs, where they have gotten after it. They've had at least three different fights that we know of, a couple of them heavily involving David Bailey, who reportedly had another sack. And so this is where you start to catch my attention. Like, I was wondering the other day, all right, Bailey is having a good run of it. You can leave it up because I'm going to play more sound. What the hell? I get used to the music. Harvey, here's the thing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing over here. Anything can happen. So you throw the music up. I don't say don't kill it. I don't say that. It's like an informal audio files. You guys do whatever the hell you want.
I will say that was me who was making that decision.
I'm not knocking anybody here.
Yeah.
Listen, just now we're in it. Let's stay in it. That's fine. But everybody's taking swings. I want people to take swings. I felt the other day, Harvey, that maybe I had been a little harsh on you, and maybe I don't want to take away your confidence. It's like sending a kid back to AAA.
No,
even though you could argue that being on this show, you're in AAA.
Well, I won't go that far, but
yeah.
I was totally deserved.
Okay,
was it today?
Was it? I don't know if it was. Anyway, here's the point. I want to let you be you to a degree. To a degree.
I'm going to punch you right in the face.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I will.
No, you're not.
See, now that, I chuckled, but that was a bit unnecessary. I know. Anyway, here's the point. As we're talking about, what the hell was I talking about there? I was talking about the fights in practice and David Bailey. I take more out of seeing Bailey do that in a joint practice against another team, because at the very least, I can then eliminate that maybe the Jet offensive line isn't as good as I thought it was. I don't even eliminate it so much as I can consider that, maybe David Bailey's just going to be really good. It's all practice. These aren't even real preseason games yet. And I don't even know how much he's going to play in the preseason. I'm encouraged by that. I think the joint practices are great. If you get into the fights, it's going to happen. If somebody's going to push somebody, something's going to come on wrong. As long as nobody's getting hurt, I don't really care. I don't really care. I've been around enough of them in training camps to see it. It's not a big deal. Number 3, and this is news that just came across in the last 20 minutes or so. The Minnesota Vikings, without even a preseason game, have named Kyler Murray their starting quarterback. I thought that would happen anyway, and they might just make it look good and wait until after a game or two. But B, sucks being J.J. McCarthy. And it might be because J.J. McCarthy is not very good. And I hate to say I told you so, but I never thought that J.J. McCarthy was going to be very good. I've been wrong about enough people that when I'm right about something, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, because, big fella, you deserve it. J.J. McCarthy was on an excellent team at Michigan, and he was never asked to go out and win games himself. They were a great running football team with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. They had good receivers. Roman Wilson's in the league. They had a lot. The tight end from Michigan was pretty good, too. I can't remember his name at the moment. Point is, they had a lot of talent to work with. I never thought J.J. McCarthy was that good to begin with. And Kyler Murray's the quarterback in Minnesota. And they have made that announcement on August the 11th. On August 11th, without even playing a game, he's the guy. I think that says more to me about J.J. McCarthy than it does about Kyler Murray. If you did not see this last night, this was flat out bizarre. The Red Sox-Blue Jays game, okay? First and third, 1 out. Red Sox are up. Take a listen to what happens here.
This is in the air to center field. Bateman setting up. And the runner at first thought there were 2 outs. Throw the ball to first. This is going to be a double play. The runner at first, Sogard, didn't know how many outs there were. He was jogging around the bases. And it's a double play.
As soon as that ball was hit, I was wondering if it was deep enough to score the runner.
They could have tagged up and scored. They could have gotten a run. Both runners thought there were 2 outs. Stunning.
Exactly. So that's Dan Shulman on Blue Jays TV, I believe. Now, you'd think that's the end of it, right? No. 16-minute delay. Why was there a 16-minute delay? The scoreboard had 2 outs. The scoreboard was wrong. The Blue Jays, the outfielders, all thought there was 1 out because the center fielder who caught the ball on that fly ball just chucked it back in like it was nothing and that a run was going to score anyway. He did not start running in like there were 2 outs. He walked in like he was turning around and it was shallow enough, and whether or not the guy was going to try to score or not, that was basically it. So they knew there was 1 out. The pitcher and catcher started paying attention, I think, to what the runners were doing and then looked at the scoreboard. They then thought there were 2 outs. So here's the whole story. It was 1 out. The scoreboard was wrong. The Red Sox were wrong. The runners just ran. But because the Blue Jays doubled off the runner at first and not the lead runner at third, the run counted, even though he didn't tag up. Because the run had not been declared out. If they had thrown the ball to third base to appeal, as opposed to first base to appeal, then the run would not have counted. This is Chris Guccione at first, unsure of the ruling, and this is how he's talking about what they're going to do.
Okay, so what we have here is we have a time play, meaning when the third out was made at first base with the runner not tagging up. The runner that was on third base also did not tag, but crossed home plate before the third out was made at first base. So that is a time play. We are going to New York to do a rules check.
So that's the point there. If they had gone to third base and doubled off that runner as opposed to the first base, the timing thing wouldn't be an issue. But because the runner from third base had crossed home plate before the out was recorded at first base, the run counted, and this is Guccione after a 16-minute delay.
All right, after calling New York, getting it all straightened out, the run is going to score. Into the inning, 2 runs for Toronto, 1 run for Boston.
It's obviously a rule, but it doesn't make any sense.
First ever for me.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
First ever.
Everybody is pointing to the fact that you have to tag up. Well, you have to tag up, but that's only if they don't try to get an out at another base first. Because the run crossed home plate, even though it wasn't tagging up, it still counts. Because they never made an effort to try to get that runner out. That's what tagging up is in that spot, if that makes sense. And trust me, it took a while for us to figure it all out, and it took a while for them to figure it all out. A 16-minute delay And John Schneider still confused.
Yeah, it was confusing. First time for me, but I think the rule is the rule, and it was just tough because they didn't challenge the play initially. It happened in the middle of an inning when Moran's coming in to warm up, and players and coaches and managers react to what is being said to them, right? So after consulting with MLB, they told me that all of my players were across the third base line before Charlie waved off the run, which I 100% disagree with. I don't know if Vlad is that fast after he got the ball at first. So we weren't given an opportunity to appeal to third. And going forward, when that play happens again in the next 100 years, if it's us, we will record the lead out at third.
Exactly. It had to be the lead out, not the back out, not the one at first. So that's why it happened. Crazy. Absolute craziness. And I was hesitant to even talk about it because it's so far into the weeds, and now I feel like I need a weed whacker. It's 12:42. It's Carlin, ESPN New York. The Knicks opening night scenario could not be any better. 800-919-3776. Also on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Let's go, Carlin, until the K-Stir at 1.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today. 1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to cars4kids.org now, or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Monkey Sports, built by players for players, is your one-stop shop for hockey, baseball, lacrosse, and more. Find top-name equipment and expert in-store services like sharpening, break-ins, and relacing. Shop in-store at Monkey Sports in Farmingdale or Woodbridge, or online for all the top brands. Whatever your sports, Monkey Sports gets you game ready fast. Monkey Sports, where athletes shop.
Hi, this is Don LaGreca. Just like the New Jersey Devils bring intensity on the ice, Viking Pest Control brings the same level of protection to your home. And I know because I use Viking at my own place. The season may be over, but pests are always in play. So it's time to lock in your off-season defense. As the pest control provider and proud partner of the Devils, Viking delivers 45 years of trusted experience to keep ants, cockroaches, stinging insects, rodents, mosquitoes, and more out of your zone. And when you bundle pest control mosquito services, you score big savings. One call, one company, total peace of mind. Visit VikingPest.com, protecting your home inside and out.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Congratulations, New York. The Knicks did it. Through battle after battle, they dominated to become this year's NBA champions. Day in and day out, the hard work paid off. and you were there every step of the way. Enjoy the crown. Own it, because this year is your year. A part of your legacy that will never be forgotten. So celebrate this moment, show your pride, and shop the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
I haven't seen anything yet from Mayfield to see if he's speaking today. I'm telling you, I want somebody to ask the question, and I want that little door to be left open. I could be wrong that this is going to happen, but I'm just telling you, it's going to be, I love what the Jets are doing. They've done a lot of great things. You can see by the talent on their team, but I'm just focused on this Tampa Bay Bucs team this year. After shutting down talk with the Bucs about a new contract for Mayfield, telling you, do not rule that out. Do not rule that out. It won't be anything that will cause any consternation, but it will be something that will get a little bit of attention. It's Carlin, ESPN New York, and on the ESPN New York YouTube channel at 800-919-3776, 800-919-ESPN. A couple of things I wanted to get to. Number one, the guy who was in need of the ambulance was Quantez Stiggers, the defensive back, and apparently needed a couple of IVs. So hopefully that's all that was. Hopefully it was just a dehydration situation with him. Number two, Pluto Nash. Is Carlin related to Baker? No. It's what the Jets have. If this is a team that goes to 7 wins this season because of the rest of that talent and actually shows improvement, I don't care about drafting a quarterback. I would rather take one of those first-round picks and trade it for Baker and sign him to the money. Because while Baker is not necessarily going to make guys around him better, if I have the weapons, he's going to get him the football. And this is a year we find out if the Jets have the weapons. That's what bums me out so much about the Sadiq injury. I really wanted to see him play as early as possible and get the most out of him in year one in terms of his development. And now you hope he's ready by week 1 to even play, but he certainly is going to be behind the 8 ball. Couple of things here that we can get from Aaron Glenn that just came in. Number one, here is his update on the aforementioned Stiggers.
What I know, all right, he came to the sideline after a play, and he actually fell out. The good thing is he was conscious, and our guys did a hell of a job, just like most medical staffs around this league do in situations like that, and they took the necessary steps just to make sure that we do everything we can to be on board when it comes to those situations. So he was able to talk. I mean, I want to make sure that I go and see him after this just to make sure I'm good with everything. But for the most part, he was good. He was good. So came to the sideline and he just passed out. The thing is, I don't want to do too much because I wasn't there, right? But that's what I heard. But again, the good thing is he was conscious on the sideline, and I'm happy about that.
And as we said, there were reportedly, according to some of the reporters who were there, some IVs out for him. So hopefully that was a dehydration situation more than anything else. Here is Glenn on how the defense is slowly taking shape.
I have to really watch the tape. There's a lot of things within this that I'm looking at when it comes to these joint practices. But I thought our defense did a pretty good job. Listen, we have a ways to go, and I understand that. But I guys are starting to understand exactly what I'm trying to create when it comes to defense, and the guys are executing exactly like I want them to act.
I'm very curious about how this all plays out with Glenn as the coordinator and as the head coach. Because when Woody did not allow him to spend the money on Wink Martindale, it made his job more difficult. Now, Aaron has certainly held them up for a decent amount of money last year, and they spent a good amount of money and are paying a lot of the assistants that were gone after year 1. So if you're Woody Johnson and defense is Aaron Glenn's calling card, I don't necessarily blame him in saying, you know what, you go fix the defense. But what worries me about it is he did have trouble in managing the game at times last year without even being in charge of the defense. So is that making this job that much tougher for him? That's just one thing I don't want to do right now. I don't want to make the job of the head coach that much more difficult. And hopefully it's something that he's going to manage. He's going to have to manage it. And then lastly, Aaron Glenn was asked who is going to be playing against Tampa Bay.
Everybody's playing. That's what I want to do for the most part. And listen, you have two new systems, that's going in. And I think it's important for our guys to play. Now, there were signs behind this also, as far as having joint practices and trying to get the guys, at least throughout the preseason, 25 to 30 reps. I'm talking about all 3 games, so, and I don't know how I'll divvy that up. It's a field when you go into preseason, but what they say is when you have joint practices where the ones get a lot of reps and then you have that many plays, 25 to 30 in the preseason games throughout those 3 games, the risk of injury actually goes down in that first part of the year. So just talking to those guys, I'm a big believer in that, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Listen, I don't have any problem with how he's handling this. I mean, Baker Mayfield's not going to play in the game this week against the Jets. He's obviously playing in these joint practices. That's not surprising. But if you are Geno and the Jets, getting reps in a game is not a bad thing with this offense. And it's not play a quarter, play a half, any of that stuff. As you heard, 25 or 30 reps over the course of the preseason, that seems like a healthy number. And I like the way that Glenn is approaching that. 800-919-3776. Also, in case you missed it, earlier today, Shams Charania broke the news that the Knicks will be opening up the season against the Philadelphia 76ers at home on Tuesday, October the 20th at 7 p.m. They also, 2 other games that we know, the 23rd, they will play in Boston against the Sixers. And then on Christmas Day, rematch of the finals against the Spurs at noon on Christmas Day. Number one, some people were annoyed that the Knicks are playing at noon on Christmas Day. Remember that the NFL has moved in on Christmas, and I think that the league purposely kept the Knicks and Spurs at noon, looking at that saying this is our best chance to go up against the league, against the NFL, who has got Chicago Green Bay in that first slot at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day on Netflix. Knick fans are going to stay with that game. And so when you have them hooked in already on the NBA and the Knicks, the Knick fans are going to stay. They're not going anywhere to watch Chicago Green Bay. The mid-level fan in New York off of a Knicks championship with a rematch with the Spurs is not going anywhere. They are going to watch the Knicks that day. So I think it was a wise move by the NBA to actually have the Knicks at noon when the NFL has already come in. They've got 3 games on Christmas Day. They've got Broncos, Bills later on. Like, they've got really good games. This was a good move by the NBA to leave the Knicks at noon and have the Spurs play them there. If you wanted them playing in prime time later on that night, I get it. I think more of the mid-level fans by Christmas night might be more locked in on the football. That's all I would say there. But opening night, this couldn't be better. There are some people that wanted the Spurs to be opening night to make Wembanyama as this big villain have to watch the Knicks raise the banner. No. You make LeBron watch that. 16 years ago, basically told the Knicks to pound sand. All right? Then, Rich Paul made sure we all knew that if the Knicks had not won a championship this year, that's where LeBron would be. And he would have ridden in on his white horse and tried to lead the Knicks to a championship and get all of that glory. I don't know about you. While I would not have turned him aside, so to speak, and if LeBron came in and won a championship with the Knicks and all he was doing was legacy hunting, fine, dude. Leave the trophy at the door. It would do a lot for LeBron's legacy to help end a 54-year drought at that point. But you should be so much happier that that championship happened without him. Because now, and you can't tell me this, for a guy that has so diligently tried to shape what his legacy was going to be in the midst of his career, there is not going to be a part of him after how all this has turned out, even though he's got 4, that he's not going to realize that maybe if he had done it in New York, it would have meant a lot more for his legacy. And he would have, by ending that kind of a stretch, who cares that you won in Miami? Who cares? He did it in Cleveland, and that's a great story for Cleveland. But it's Cleveland. And then you won a summer camp championship with the Lakers. You're not even a top 5 all-time great Laker. So let's not get nuts here. I want LeBron to sit there and watch. I want LeBron to sit there and watch. That will do it for me.
Watch.
The K-Ster is next on ESPN New York. We're getting there, Harvey. We're getting there.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance